Okay. All right. Well, welcome everybody. So this is our first DMS Foreman Meeting gathering. So, what's up? Yeah, I'm recording. So that way, any of our other team members that are not here, we can get them included. So, welcome to those that don't know me. My name is Steve Davidson. I'm the Vice President, the Regional Vice President. DMS. I've been working week number 5 so far, working with the company. And so this performance meeting has been a collaboration with Dave Legier and I, trying to say what are some of the improvements that we want to make, where do we want to have a touch point so that we can get some feedback to project managers. And just to have a touch point so that we can all work out some of the kinks in the system. We're expanding and growing, and we want to just work out what all that is so that we can just kind of be moving straight forward. So to get started off, let's just kind of introduce ourselves, and we'll start with the people on the screen, and you guys can get a little bit related and familiar with what they are and ask any questions as they come up. So let's start with our project management team. So Chelsea, if you could get a little closer to the screen. So this is Chelsea. Chelsea's I'm gonna call you the senior project manager for this. That was close. Yeah. So Chelsea's our senior project manager. So she's the one kind of overseeing all the project management duties. She's got some projects she's working on. She's trying to organize a lot of stuff. You have involvement with DMS retail. So there's a retail side of a business that she's coordinating and we have some new things that are coming out. So she's been spearheading, rolling out some of those things that we're going to talk about a bit later. Next to her is Allison. Allison, you want to? So Allison, you guys are probably talking to Allison quite a bit, or she's called you and asked you about, hey, what happens on this project, or what about these hours, things like that. So Allison is the assistant project manager. So she's doing a lot in regards to managing the RFIs, turning them into PCOs and pricing everything. And I've been working a lot with her in regards to the day-to-day and getting up to speed with PlanGrid and getting the projects, creating some standards for project management so that it can best support the field. And then next to her is Vanessa. So Vanessa's one of our newest team members. She's an assistant project manager. So she's coming in similar to Allison, but she's learning some of just all the processes that happen from our T&M tickets to pre-liens. She's doing a little bit of anything, getting exposed to it all. So she's in the early days and going to be coming through. So I went, was it like 2 weeks ago? I was in Florida. I spent time with the team, got them familiar on what, construction terminology, construction standards, what the field's looking for from support from the office, trying to unload some of the stuff that Dave Legier's been taking on, going, okay, that goes into your court, this goes into that court, and we'll kind of talk through some of that stuff more today to bring a little more clarity. So any questions you got to go, okay, well, who's my point person? Who's the person that and we'll try to bring those things in. It's a keyboard. Yeah. There's this camera. What's up, Grandpa? And then there's Granger.
What's going on?
Oh, hey, Granger.
Team.
So Granger is what would you call your title? What do you do?
Operations manager of retail.
So he's the project manager for the DMS retail side. He's coordinating all from estimating the projects. Most of the retail sides is like Walgreens and CVS stuff. Come in and change the light bulbs. Oh wait, we got to hang some banners up. They do a little kind of mishmash of everything. Yeah, all that kind of stuff. Oh, we want this to look a certain way. So they do a lot of, I'm gonna call it like handyman kind of services to go and just support them. So it's a wide range. So Granger's in charge of that, coordinating, and we have. What are all the states that we're in, Granger?
We're in quite a few now. Pretty much California and New York, and most states in between. Big into the Midwest and the East Coast, up through New England, New York, Pennsylvania. Those are heavy concentrated areas, and also Midwest, Illinois, St. Louis, Kansas City. Minnesota, those states over there.
Chicago.
In regards to that, they all have different labor codes. They have different, building codes that they need to build to. And coordinating with where do we get manpower, what are their labor rates, where do I source this, where do we source this material from, all that stuff. He has to coordinate that for every single, let's say a Walgreens is in Florida and they go, oh, we've got one up in New York, can you do one there? He's got to coordinate all that and figure out flights, hotel rooms, all that stuff for just that team. Okay. Is there any questions at all in regards to the project management team and what we've currently introduced? And we'll go deeper dive later. Okay, so then who else do we have on screen? We have, I muted Damien. We'll have Damien. So Damien, you just want to introduce yourself and what projects you're working on.
I am Damien, and I'm working on Coya Delta Hospital and Marcia Voorhees Elementary School in Bakersfield.
Okay. Thank you. And then how long have you been with DMS?
Oh, about 2 years now.
Okay. He's on the phone. So this is Dusty's brother. Chris is our main estimator. So David Schmidt has been training Chris on how to estimate and some of the estimated way of bidding for some of these projects. So we're now doing a lot of the work, and then eventually got into estimating, doing a lot of stuff. I think he's landed. He landed like when I was there, he landed like $6 million worth of work for us. So and he does a little bit of key support for the office there. Yeah. Next is so that we grab Damien. So let's talk to Ben. Can you hear us, Ben?
No, Ben cannot hear you.
No.
Ben doesn't have audio.
He's on the phone with me. For some reason, he doesn't have any audio
So
drive.
Ben is, Chelsea kind of guide me on this. Ben is the estimator, project manager for Bakersfield.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, that's correct.
So he's estimating a lot of the jobs that are down in the Bakersfield, Southern California area.
Should we get a yes and a no? Yeah.
Heavily with Damien on coordinating. Okay. So that covers kind of everybody that's up on the screen. Let's just go around the table here just to see what projects you're currently working. Allison and Vanessa, put a face with the name. Where do we want to start?
We'll start with the handsome one.
Okay.
Come on, man.
I don't know if they can see you, Gonzalo. You might have to. Gonzalo, there he is. He's over there.
Oh. Everybody knows me. I'm the only Mexican guy. Not anymore. Well, anymore. I'm working on project that we got on Sonoma. I guess we're too slow on that job, so that's what I'm doing right now.
Okay, so Sonol is the main part you've been working on, bouncing around on all the display stuff. Oh, great, thank you.
I'm Paul Elliott. I'm running on Moscow pretty much, but I will for the blind in San Rafael. Plus, I got some stuff going on in the city. I've been helping out in Sonol, helping out on the warehouse in the city. So I've been all over.
Next. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Sergio Montoya. I'm on Folsom or Sutter Middle School and Bill Air Base. I like walks on the beach.
How long have you worked with DMS?
About a year.
About a year? Okay.
I'm Chris Williams, owner of Streamline Drywall. So Vicky and I have worked together years in the past. I'm from the field, so I went through the apprenticeship program, was running projects about 6-7 years, and then transitioned into estimating and project managing for about 4 contractors out in the Union or in the Bay Area. So I have my license for Streamline since 2011, and I'm just now working on getting us launched into the Union. So I think we'll probably dive into that a little bit later, but nice meeting everybody. Look forward to all of us partnering and creating something pretty effing magical, I have the feeling. Good vibes.
Thank you.
Dave Legier, also known as White Dave, so it's clear.
Yeah.
Not Super Dave, White Dave.
You like going by White Dave?
White Dave.
I told everybody in Florida that you were rebranding yourself
No.
as Dave Legier.
No, White Dave.
He's got white.
That's
really?
his, no, that's his alter ego. So it just depends on which day and what kind of
There's no racial.
No racial
Issues.
thing. Actually, the reason it became White Dave is because I grew up with all Mexicans.
Oh, gotcha.
I was the only white guy in the crew. So anyways, General Superintendent, I've been with Schmidt since 2012. Bounced around all the projects. Talk to you guys all the time, everybody knows.
Thank you. Hi. Frank Day and Sonol, exterior lath and plaster. Worked for Schmidt for 5 years now.
A question for you, Steve, is that we are, and I'm going to bring it up now because we just found out about it. So on Sonol, we have plaster work. You've been working and spearheading the lab.
Yes.
We are in talks with, or we're in the process of bringing on a plastering, let's say superintendent foreman. I'm trying to remember his name. He said there's Bert, thank you.
Nelson.
Bert, yeah, Bert Nelson, and I believe he is either in Las Vegas or going to be coming out to West Palm Beach to get orientated with the team and show the estimators just like things they need to be looking at in regards to the estimates so we can estimate plaster. There's a lot of plaster work available for us, especially in the Bakersfield area down south, but also even up here. We're trying to incorporate that into our package. So he's another person that may be seeing coming on. And he said that he's known you for a long time, and
I've worked with Bert for over 20 years, worked around him, same company, other company, so I know Bert.
okay.
very well.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Lawrence Beret, out at Central Elementary, and I've been here 2 months.
Come on. And then what's your role? You're lead man,
Lead
foreman, or
Yeah, lead man.
He's our lead man.
okay, lead
As
man.
of this Friday.
As of this Friday. Great.
Check.
So now for our team in Florida, what lead man you're working with? Is it Ricky?
Yeah, Ricky.
Yeah. So Ricky's going to be working and training and developing Lawrence?
Yep.
Right? Okay, I want to make sure I'm not mispronouncing. So Lawrence, to train him on iPad and all the other kind of stuff to get that project moving forward. So he's your kind of
Other way around, he's doing all the hard work on iPad.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So Lawrence is the technical iPad guru, and Ricky's the, I don't know, press that, make it go kind of thing. Is that?
And he's actually doing foreman's work. He helped run the crew.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
You doing? I'll just count my days.
Figure it out in 15 years.
You have to have
Okay. Great. Thank you.
I'm Ricky Anderson, and I've been running work for a lot of experience. Yeah, Dave asked me to help out on this one. Also did times report down.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you for being here. You're Ricky. So your name is Richard Anderson? Ricky Anderson. R-A-Y Anderson.
AKA Tricky Rick.
Oh, great.
AKA Pretty Ricky.
So when it comes to me, I'll tell you a little story about that. Okay, so Ricky Anderson.
Okay, working on VA hospital in Sacramento.
I don't know if they can see. There you go. Can you guys see him? Get that, Jose.
Yeah. And helping out
See part of them.
Sutter Middle School
Okay.
in Folsom. I started here.
What's your name?
Jose.
Oh,
Aguilar.
There's Jose Aguilar. They're like, oh, there's the name that I've been sending stuff to.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
I started since August last year.
August last year. Okay, great. So some of us have been here for a considerable amount of time. Some of us are new members. So what I wanted to bring up, so I sent out an email kind of introducing myself and my email like, hey, welcome. New things are going to be happening. So my name is Dickie Anderson. I spell it D-I-K-K-I-E, so it's Norwegian spelling. But I was born Richard Anderson. When I was growing up as a kid, I was called Ricky. And I got into high school, I wanted to sound more mature, so I said I'm going to go by Rick. Well, in high school, I come from a small town called Casper in Wyoming. So we've got about 20,000 there, and that's it. There's 2 high schools. Well, in my class, in my high school group, there was another guy named Rick Heitrick. He was going by Ricky, and all his friends called him Ricky. Well, we became like best friends, and we started hanging out. Well, our friends couldn't discern between, well, if he's Rick, which Rick are we talking about? So they would call him Ricky, which pissed him off because we're trying to sound like young adults, men, sound mature. And so then they started nicknaming me. They go, oh, we'll call him Rick, and we'll piss off the new guy, call him Dick. So they started calling me Dick. I was like, whatever, guys, whatever's the nickname. Well, one day they started calling me, they were like, oh, where's Ricky and Dickie? They went, that's his name. So I got this nickname, Dickie. Later, so I was in Wyoming, all my friends knew me as that. I was like, oh, I'll try to use it as a cool nickname. When I came out to California, I started working for a company called Raleigh French. I don't know if anybody remembers that company 20 years ago. But I was just a delivery guy. I was just a warehouseman, right? Just the yard dog picking up. We did lath and plaster and fireproofing and metal stud framing. We did our own GFRG panels. And at the time, we had just gotten the push-to-talk, Nextel push-to-talk phones. It was like walkie-talkies around the Bay Area. Well, I thought, man, Dickie's never gonna fly. That's my nickname. So there was another. So I said, I'll go by Dick. I'll just go by Dick. Sounds again a bit mature. There was another guy named Dick Hawkins who was running one of the projects, and I was delivering material. Well, I stopped to get a sandwich, and one of the foremen called up and said, "Hey, wait a second. We got 2 Dicks. Which Dick should I speak to?" Well, Big Dick, Little Dick, come here, Little Dick. And I went, oh my God.
Nobody ever asked for Little Dick.
Yeah, I said, oh my God. So I'm standing in line, the speaker's blaring, everybody in the line's staring at me. I'm like, okay. So I turned the phone off, and I was just totally embarrassed. I'm like, I'm going to go by Dickie. And then ever since, in every other job or every other location that I've been, I've met another Richard, Rick, Ricky. This is the first time I've ever had a Ricky Anderson. So I was like, oh, wait, when the checks come in, I'm like, oh, make sure we don't get the checks mixed up. So that is kind of a little bit of funny story about my name.
So on your check, it doesn't say Dickie, it says Richard?
It says Richard.
Okay.
Yeah, my driver's license says Richard, but I go by Dickie. And because I've been working in construction, like 20 years, most of the people in the industry, if they say Dickie, the name kind of stands out. So I'm like, okay, once it grabbed a reputation, I just stayed with it. And I've worked at Daly's Drywall, Cal Drywall, J&J Acoustics, Pace Drywall, Raleigh French. Those are my big companies. Raleigh French went bust. I moved over to Daly's Drywall, stayed with them for 8 years, moved to England, where I went through a divorce and then came back. And then I started working at Pace Drywall. From Pace Drywall, left them, went and worked for J&J Acoustics, then Cal Drywall, where I met Dave Leger and Dave Smith and Celine. And then I left after that. I left and started up. And so I started up with Tristan. He said, hey, Streamline Drywall, let's create this great company. So I said, okay. We started working on that in a startup phase. Then I reached out to David Schmidt, and he said, look, I think there's some synergy here. You can come help get the management and all this other stuff, I think there's enough opportunity that we'll be able to have another estimator working for streamlined drywall, and maybe we can integrate a manpower pass back and forth between the two companies and dominate the area.
That's the spirit.
That's the spirit. Okay.
Warriors of the.
I like it. Sounds good.
So that gives you kind of just a general overview. What we're going to do now, Damien's down, what we want to do is we're going to do an icebreaker. So as an icebreaker, we're going to pair up 8. Celine, you'll have to join with Gonzalo.
I'm watering them.
And for our office. So you'll need a pad of paper and a pen. So on your table, you're going to have a pad of paper and a pen. Now these pens are donated from WACA. That's the facility that we're in. It's the Wall and Ceiling Association. The front part can be used on your iPad as a pen. And then you click it, and there's also a pen in there. Okay?
Stylus.
So stylus, well said. So I want everybody to get into pairs. Everybody get into pairs. And you're going to pick an A and a B. Okay? So Jose with Ricky, Lawrence. Hold on. Where's...
No. Pairing up with Lawrence, right?
Well, not for this icebreaker. I'll have Ricky go with Jose. Celine, where are you going?
With Gonzalo.
So, Jose and Ricky together. Lawrence and Steve. Dave and Tristan. Sergio and Paul. And Gonzalo and... Okay. Okay, so between you two, pick an A and a B. And for you in Florida, I take it it's Allison, Vanessa, and Chelsea and Granger. Okay. Okay. Okay, so A's, raise your hand. Okay, how many A's we got? Okay, great. B's, raise your hand. All right, B's, point to A and say, because you're A, I'm going to go first.
I'm gonna go first.
Okay, so B's, what you're going to do is you're going to stand up and stand behind your partner.
Ooh, yes.
Here we go. It's a good thing there's a tall back. So what you're going to do is I'm going to give you an image. Can you get closer? Don't be shy. I'm going to give you, so here's the exercise. I'm going to give you an image. So all the A's that are standing up, I'm going to B's, the B's that are standing up, you're going to instruct A's on how to draw an image. So I'm going to give you an image, and you're going to give them instructions on how to draw it. And here's your instructions. Your directions can only be set pen down, stop, lift pen up, draw down, left, right, or diagonal upper right, diagonal upper left, diagonal lower left, or lower right. Okay? So, B's, which are standing up. Yeah, B's are standing up. Okay. B's are up. A's, you will follow their instructions and draw whatever directions they tell you to do. Okay? So I'm going to go around and set pen down. Stop and lift pen. Let me grab, I'll grab. And then I'll show the people. So if you need directions, we'll put this in between you guys. There's your directions for up, down, and front.
Lower left, upper left, just means draw the baddies.
Ooh, the lollies.
No looking at the image. Keep the image hidden.
Yeah. Okay, put your
Here's the
hand
directions.
down by the red lines.
Hey, now wait, I'm gonna have everybody start at the same time. Set pen down.
Watch.
Here are the
You know what, Freddie,
directions.
I'm gonna give you some hood directions, okay?
Okay, now for the team in Florida. I'm not staring at the screen just yet. Hold on. Okay, who's drawing? In Florida, who's drawing?
Me.
Okay, I need those that are going to give the instructions. I'm going to show you the image.
Okay.
Okay.
What about Bakersfield?
Oh, Bakersfield.
You just sit back. Just sit back.
Don't forget about us.
Instructions. You can give Jamie instructions. Okay, so are you ready? So those that are drawing, close your eyes.
Who's drawing, Ben, you or me?
Here's the image.
We're both looking.
Okay.
Okay.
Straight left,
Now.
lower left.
Okay, ready? You have 3 minutes for this. Ready? Go.
I don't remember the
All right, you're right. Yes, you're right.
The image?
Stop. And I'm gonna want you to draw. We only use lines left and right.
I don't even know what I know the line was supposed to go.
Left diagonal.
Can you hear me, Damien?
Yeah? Are you drawing something or are you telling me to draw something?
Connect it to the
Well,
other
I'm
side. Yeah, down left.
What are you doing, Ben?
Okay, now lift your pen. Right. and-
we're supposed to
Yeah.
put your pen down.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Does everyone hear me when I'm trying to get? We're not in the same area. We're at a different site.
No, I understand.
Okay, go to the right. Yes. Down.
I don't think this works for us, Damien.
All right.
To the left. Stop. Go down. Stop. To the left. Stop. Go up. Stop. To the left. Stop. Down. To the left. Up. Connected to the other lines. Across. Yeah, you go up until it matches the other side.
How's that look, Ben?
My creature's looking. Wow. Line, yes.
Perfect.
Yep.
I've got the same one.
Now to, on the right side? Yes. He said I could only use these directions.
That's the way you're supposed to do it. Yeah.
You should have came up with that. I'm pretty sure Paul E. seen my picture. On the side, you're gonna need to draw the
To the right.
It's okay. On the side, just try a little more. So right next to it. Yep, down. Stop. To the left. Left. Okay. Up.
30 seconds left.
And then on the other side, match it.
Lower right.
A half circle. Yeah, go straight up.
We have enough room here?
15 seconds left.
That's good. That's good.
Down. 5 seconds left.
Here, this is what I was trying to get you to draw. I don't know how we're gonna do that.
Stop. Okay. So.
Not bad.
I know.
Hey. A's, hold up your drawing, show the rest of the team members.
But look at what we was
Let's
going
see what
for.
Chelsea got.
Nobody followed the directions. It did not down there to build. It's in my circle.
Yeah, somebody
Don't show them yours.
Hey, look at like he traced that shit.
I see it. Like a diagonal, like a radius.
Look at that. Well done. So who's the winner? Who got the best one? Which group got the best one? Look at this one here. That's Picasso.
That's the one right there.
Oh, we got antenna and ice.
Eyes are triangle. I think that was the best. My eyes are triangle, but hey.
Oh, that's good. Okay. So now you're gonna switch partners.
Oh, shit. What do you mean switch partners?
A's are now gonna get the instructions, and B's are now gonna.
You know, just show me the picture, okay?
Kelsey trying to do stuff? Yeah. Okay. So A's are standing up, yes? So B's you're gonna draw. So let me
Yeah.
give you the image.
Show me what you're working with.
Same rules apply?
Same rules and the same instructions. Now it's their turn to experience.
Oh, this is not gonna be easy.
Which one did I draw? Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on a second. Let me.
I'm just gonna draw.
Okay, you guys ready? In Florida, I'm gonna show you the image. The other person's turn. Ready? I'm gonna show you the image.
I looked up pin.
Ready?
Stop.
And go.
Upper right. Left.
Straight up.
So up, down.
Okay, let's go. Go.
Down and over.
Lower right.
Down right? This way? Well, I gotta come back.
Up right.
Lower right. Lower right.
Stop. Right.
Lower left.
Right. Lower right.
Mija, we're gonna start on the other side.
Okay. Stop.
Yeah. Lower right.
Up.
Lower left.
Quick right. No, that. Let's go.
Stop.
Start right there. Upper, right, or about a half an inch. Start to go lower, right. Turn around. And then now we're gonna go. Upper right.
Right, Mija.
Stop.
Right there.
I forgot to stop. I couldn't tell you. Stop. God damn it. Now we're gonna go.
Raise pin up.
Now.
To your right.
Upper left.
Okay.
Stop. Up.
1 minute left.
Upper right.
Right. Right.
I'm going right or left?
Not even close.
Yes, if you tell me to go down right, so I'm gonna start this way?
Right.
Yeah, we lost. I think we lost.
Lower
30 seconds.
Lower left.
And that's it.
Yeah, that's pretty much the same.
Cool.
Really not bad.
15 seconds.
Thanks, Mija.
Yes.
I got all the curves. Like, I was saying curves. I mean,
We'll do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, stop. Stop. All right. So we stop, cut it down. Let's see how we did. She showed damage. What do we got? We got, okay. I don't know what the thing is.
Show them yours, Damien.
Yeah. Did we not hear?
Oh,
Wow, like a time bomb. All right. Okay, good.
Wow. Let's see what happens. What's in Florida? Show us what you got in Florida. Oh, yeah.
You guys are cheating so bad. Draw a cloud and put an apple on top.
Oh, we got a with a bite out of it. Great. All right, well, give yourselves and your partners a round of applause. So, how was that? What was the experience like as you were drawing, and what was the experience like giving the instructions?
I can't give instructions.
Well, I mean, you gave me
Better drawing.
radiuses, and I can't say radius.
Upper right,
Upper right,
left.
How many people were frustrated? Is there anybody frustrated?
No.
Like, fuck on their iPads.
Why is Chelsea
Been
looking
right
mad?
up.
Too bad we
You can't win everything, Chels.
You can hear what he's saying. So, what did you learn about this?
That your rules didn't include radiuses?
Rules don't include radiuses?
Instructions are important.
Instructions are important.
Communication.
Communication?
Without seeing a person or nothing like that.
Yep. Says it right here, communication. Is there anything you could have done differently to had you be more successful?
Yeah.
Show me a picture. Draw this. Draw this. Build this.
Build this. Yeah. So with our team being in Florida and us being here, that when we're asking them to do stuff for us, and if they don't have the picture, how successful are we going to be?
It's true.
And if Florida is asking us to do stuff and we don't have the picture, how successful are we going to be? We're going to become Picasso's real quick, real fast, right? What's this? I thought he said this. So communication, understanding, having an understanding of a unified vision of what the picture is so that we can create to move forward towards that. And then everything that you experienced, we experienced with our general contractors. Hey, we want you to build it this way. No, it's not going to take that long. They can't see what we're seeing, especially around access. What's it? Modco, the
Access.
access openings. So as project managers, we're working with our clients, trying to get the same picture, get them to draw the same picture as us. We're working with the field team's working with office team. Everybody's trying to work to go, look, we're just trying to draw the same picture, yet it's those instructions and listening and all that's different. Even though you have the same picture, your communication of, oh, I forgot to say stop. I forgot to stop, or hey, this is included in BIM or scope stuff. So that's everything that we do is really critical to communicate. It's really critical to have an idea and understanding to bridge that gap. So anything else anybody wants to say about the exercise? Any other reasons why we might be doing this exercise?
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Teamwork makes the dream, yeah. So we do this to step out of our comfort zone a little bit, get familiar with each other. How many have ever been to meetings and they've been like just boring? Yeah. How many have led those meetings? Yeah. So when we get together, the intention is for us to get together and be able to have this not be, we take a lot of stress, especially on the foreman level, out with dealing with the cold weather. Guys not showing up. Where's their paychecks at? What's going on? So office wants me to do this. I got to get home and buy some eggs and milk. And all that stuff comes on. So our foreman meeting is an opportunity for us to kind of lighten up a little bit, speak clearly, get connected with everybody on our team, vent anything that's getting out so that we can keep working towards common vision of what we're trying to create. Okay. Now, with that, I want to check it. How was it for you guys in Florida? You liked it or hated it?
Loved it.
Like
Liked it? Well, you guys did a great job. I saw their pictures. They may have cheated a little bit, but. So for agenda items, so I have a whole lot of stuff that I'd like to talk to you guys about, in regards to where we're at as a company, what the future looks like, some of that. One of the things is we've got some shirts. Sling, can you grab the shirts for us? So we went and got, Florida sent us cases of shirts for our guys. So having a unified vision as a company for us to be kind of go, which way are we going? Also to have a unified kind of way that we look. So we have shirts available for you and your team. Whoever you want to give them to on the team. We're going to be working on getting vests. Dave Legier said, hey, look, I'd like for our guys to get vests. So they have our logo and everything on it so that we're unified. We're working with Dave Legier to pick out the vests. I've worked at other companies where we got some cheap vests. I'm like, you guys just throw them away. I'd rather get you guys some vests that have the stuff you want, pockets, iPad pockets, whatever you guys want. So we get you the right kind of vest that we can give out to the field.
We're gonna get vests for the crew too, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, that's for the whole team. And these shirts are for you and your crew. So this is for you and your whole team. We have, hundreds of shirts. So whatever you can take 2-3 shirts. I know some guys like wear them over, somewhere over their other shirts. So like you need extra large and double extra large and stuff like that. So I think we got like a ton of extra large shirts. Feel free to grab those, start wearing them and that stuff like that. And then I heard that Dave Legier and Steve, you said that you put in a request for some jackets.
Well, they sent the email.
Yeah, they sent an email out for jacket sizes for everyone.
So I'll work with Chelsea to find a timeline on that so that you guys know when to get that.
We're sharers.
Okay, yeah, share yours. Yeah, you wear it on Tuesdays and you're on Wednesdays and
I got
swap.
every day that ends with one.
Yeah.
We all get one shirt piece of it.
So we probably have shirts for like 3 or 4 a piece for the forwards right now, and then I was gonna go to the job like hit them all every week and just give all the guys.
Yeah, we have hundreds and hundreds. Yeah, it was like 10
Everybody.
10
Let
boxes.
me know,
Quarter of the box.
Wednesdays when I deliver
Throw away all my
Right now, let's fucking
There you go.
So we're just trying to create a unified look so that we can have some price so people know we're at. Plus, when I'm out looking at job sites, I can, there's one of our guys, and any other suggestions. One of the other topics is checks and distribution of checks. Because I'm getting fresh and new here, I know what the ideal process is. I want to check, is
Direct
that
deposit.
process working right now?
Direct deposit is the only way.
Okay? So direct deposit.
Of course. That shouldn't be.
Okay?
I bet that would sure save Selena an awful lot of work.
I'm just saying, we got extra money for direct deposit, then we can do it.
But
I don't hold the
is there a
money,
big
so-
price difference between direct deposit and how much he has to spend to FedEx checks every
Oh,
week?
I don't actually send them FedEx, that's payroll, but yes, there's a cost difference.
So just so you guys are in full transparency. So for payroll, DMS has been outsourcing payroll. What that means is we do cards in, turn that in, we give it over to a different company. They take that and they balance and consolidate all the payroll. And they print out the checks, and then they call and distribute it in. We are in the process of bringing that payroll system in-house. That's what Chelsea and everybody's kind of spearheading so that we can do our own, we can write our own checks. When a layoff check comes in, we don't have to call somebody else and have them print the checks. So when that process comes in, that's where direct deposit and some of the other things, as we bring that in-house, that's coming.
Baby steps.
Well, it's a lot we want to accomplish because we're bringing a new accounting system in, which we'll talk more about later. And some of these processes take like 3 to 10 months. So it's like, well, what phase and what module is going to be brought in to have this implemented? So that's where I'm going to give you kind of the bigger picture, and we're going to be taking steps in between now and there. So right now, in regards to check distribution, you guys, the process is Foreman. You got from the what do you guys do for Foreman? You got 5 guys working. You write on a piece of paper, take a picture. You're doing it on your iPads, smoke signals, carrier pigeons. What's the way to?
One thing we need I need like, let's send to me
correct spelling there on his name that works. It's hard to get their signatures, even their handwriting, spell the name.
Or you need like a separate sheet with the.
Yeah, just something that has
Well,
listed in
What I normally do on our jobs is I tell the guys, if you put your name legible so I can hear it or see it, or I won't be able to pay you that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That,
So,
that,
I mean,
well,
they
that's,
have to have it.
that's what helped me, is sometimes I can't speak their language, and they sign it with a G, and
Jose Manuel Jr., Jose Manuel Senior.
No, can we have them
Guys'
sign
names.
in with their names, not their nickname, not
Okay.
their middle name?
yeah, if we get a sheet.
Well,
that
that's
has
why
the
Rick's
name-
saying he just looked like
A sheet,
Basically a contact
with
list.
everybody's name that's on it.
and then then they can sign the right spot, then I ain't trying to guess the names, because we got brothers that work for the same company.
Yeah. Cousins, all kinds of stuff.
Our con-
Yeah, Celine's
contact
asking
list
that,
with
and I go,
all the
well-
employees on it.
So you gotta help me.
So,
I can
so Ricky,
send
we
you a list.
can get you, we can get that for you. We
I
can
should
get
have asked
that.
for it earlier, though.
Okay, that's okay. We're present here, Daz. So then, anything else in regards to, what do you, so Ricky, what do you do for time cards? What's your process right now?
I just fill out
On a sheet, and then
Use pictures.
you send a picture and you email it to Celine. That's your process. Okay, Jose, what's your process?
Well, when I fill them all my time cards, I make them sign every day.
Okay,
In and out.
sign in, sign out.
Fill out my time cards and I just take it to the general.
SF interior time.
Oh, gotcha. You email it to time@SF Interiors.
Yeah.
That's the email address?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, great, thank you. With, Steve,
I just learned how to go. So I just- Send them off that way. I send them off this way.
okay,
She changes them for me and,
you're using Bluebeam. Okay, good. Thank you, Steve, I appreciate that.
Damien, how do you do time cards?
Your Bluebeam?
Yeah.
Bluebeam, Paul?
I just memorize it and call Celine and tell her what the hours were.
And she types it in for you? And I go, look, guys, this all works, as long as it's going in. Sergio, or Sir Gonzalez?
What I do is I just time everything, list of people working on that day, and Friday.
Okay, so you call Celine, hey, I got 4 guys working, this guy worked this, and then she just types it in and gets it sent out. Okay,
Yep.
good. All right. Okay, and then,
That only works if you don't have a crew of 10 or more guys.
Yeah.
Usually I've got a couple of guys and it's pretty simple. So, I mean, if I had as many guys as Rick had on his job, then that.
Hey, I love Ricky's time cards.
so then when you guys submit the time in, it goes in, then paycheck day comes, Thursday, checks get distributed out.
Hey,
How
Dickie,
if you have, Rick, if you have Ricky, you have 2 guys and 2 guys go over to work on Paul's job, or guys get moved around, how does that get coordinated to go, well, you gotta make sure the guys get the check.
I asked for a manpower list on Wednesday and send it to payroll, so I know where all the checks are gonna be going on Thursday.
So you take the list from the foreman and say, hey, payroll, this is where you're gonna send these checks, and they FedEx the checks to your job site or some pickup
FedEx
point.
location, yes.
Which kind of sucks, because I'll get a call from somebody at 4 o'clock and hot, I need 2 guys tomorrow, and I'll pull them, and they just went from Sacramento to San Francisco, and now their check's in fucking Sacramento.
Yeah, any given day,
That
I'll have 8, then I'll have 16, so.
Yeah, it fluctuates a bit like that.
hey, Dickie,
Yeah,
hey, can you include Damien too? I want to hear how he does his time cards.
yeah, sorry, thank you, yeah.
Well,
I just do mine on Bluebeam and send them in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, really? Okay, that looks good.
You do it on the Bluebeam and you can make files every week and, keep it organized per job and
Bluebeam's the best
just
way.
email them in at the end of the week.
Okay.
Bluebeam
Is
is
It's
the
easy,
best.
right?
Does the Blue Beam have a fillable form?
it's easy now, but
Yes.
it takes time to learn.
Kind of.
Yeah, it's a fillable form. You take that same form and just put a new name on it every week. Most of these guys stay on a job for 40 hours a week. So if you take the same form from the week before for the same guy and you just change the date, he just signs it again on Friday and verifies. So your work's done. All you're doing is filing and saving as.
Yeah.
They've asked Steven.
So now does every foreman here check in with Celine and say, hey, Celine, this is where these are the checks that I'm gonna need? Is that correct? Yes? Yes? Yes?
Yes, everybody does.
Yeah.
After everybody sends me their list,
Okay.
then I mess with yours.
Okay.
Now, who they switch that day?
And the reason why I'm asking this is I'm trying to we have some things coming down the pipeline that are gonna simplify this process. And I'm trying to find out what the existing process is and things that we can do to improve the process. I used to deliver checks when I was at a different company. When I started out, I had to go around because plasters would move from job to job. I mean, it would consume a whole day of me just driving around the Bay Area trying to drop checks off. And I'm like, who's the person dropping those checks off? If it's Dave, that's a big time-consuming task. If it's Celine, I'm trying to see if there's things. Clarify that. There's some stuff with layoff checks. We're still working out with a layoff check. All right,
excuse me, Dick. Excuse me, Dickie.
Yeah.
Got a question here. Not a question, but since we're on the checks, I have Gonzalo Carrasco's check that was sent to my house. So what do I do when I get other people's checks sent over to me?
Ben, he's coming up here tomorrow. Send that with Pablo and Vince.
Oh, that's what the plan is.
Sorry.
Yeah, he's coming here tomorrow with Pablo and Vince, please.
Oh, okay. I'll see. I didn't know that.
And the other guy.
And the other guy. Okay.
Yes.
They didn't tell me that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought I
had extra checks.
Yeah.
Going to Vegas.
So, and if you can imagine from our exercise earlier, drawing the picture, like the frustration that may have, I got something. Why do I have it? I don't know why. I don't know. Hold on. And it can create stress and tension, and because we want to make sure everybody's getting paid on time, and I know that's our priority.
That's
making
the
sure.
worst. That's the worst thing.
Yeah. Well, and they have other bosses at home that are going, hey, no money, no honey. That's how this works, right? So I appreciate the frustrations and everything we've gone through to get to here. That's why this is one of my first topics to talk about. Going, what can we do? Because I want to empower you guys to make sure that when you are promising you guys, hey, your check's here, it's going to be coming, that they're going to build that relationship and be able to count on you. Sergio's looking out for me. Ricky's looking out for me. Steve's looking out for me. Got me handled.
For the most part, too, I mean, I know the ladies over there, too, I screwed up. Like David was saying that you can just change the name, keep the hours, and I screwed up on moving too. So, a lot of it's our fault as well. You know what I mean? But
yeah, well, dude, yeah, don't get me wrong. There's a lot happening on this that it's just, it takes a certain amount of attention to do that. And if you're like, I'm on fucking iPad and the battery's almost dead or something like that, I'll get to it later. I'm just trying to see all the ways that people do it. Because like I said, Celine's the backup, call it in, do it. But if we get into larger jobs where we have 100 men on the job site, we're not going to call in to Celine and have 100 people call in. So there's a scalable part to that. Chelsea, is there anything you wanted to add in regards to time cards?
Is there anything, can you repeat that?
Is there anything you wanted to add or say about the topic of our time card and check, our check distribution process or turning time in? From my understanding, we have an email address that says time@SF Interiors.
Correct. Yeah, we have that email. I think pretty much what happens on how I interpret it is our foremen submit them either to Celine or straight to time@SF Interiors, and then on the back end we have Kathleen or Brooke going through those time cards, making sure that there's not duplicates hours, and then sending them to our payroll company. But eventually, once we implement the pro contractor, we're going to be able to print checks ourselves, We're going to have cost coding on those time cards, so our foreman will be able to select what exactly the activities that our guys on the field are doing, and we'll be able to budget and track job progress based on activities.
That's, so she referred to as a new accounting software, and it's also a project management software and an estimating software called Pro Contractor that will allow for us, when our estimators set up a job, project management, to get it set up, give you guys labor budgets. So you can say, here's how much time you have for layout, here's how much time you have for shafts, here's what you have for exterior framing, all those different buckets, so that you guys have a
Breakdown of all the trades.
correct. Yeah, for all your, yeah, versus, hi, work as fast as you can, go that way. And just get it done, knowing those pieces. So that's coming down the road. So our plan right now for Pro Contractor, just for the accounting, we are looking to go live with just the accounting piece April 1st, so month. Once the accounting piece is set up, payroll has to be trained and be brought in-house. And at that point, so after April, I'm going to be working with the estimates and getting those set up, going, okay, how do we want to break this down? Is it a multiple floor building? Are we breaking the exterior hours out by elevation? Are we breaking out by floor? And that's where I'll be working with you guys on the pre-construction part of saying, what's the best way do we want to do this? Do you want a shaft broken out, or do you want that all lumped into your framing time?
We're also going to have the project management portal in April.
Okay, and the project management portal, okay. Then at the very end of Pro Contractor, by the end of the year, there's a component, so I'm putting this on the horizon. We're still kind of formulating it. There's a point where it has the capacity for you to do time cards on your iPad, and it'll automatically go into the system, and you can print your own time cards. You can put all the information in, you do the data entry, and everybody else is just finessing it through to make sure it gets on the payroll. So no one else is re-keying in data. Oh, a typo, misspelling someone's name or doing that. Whatever you put in goes all the way through the system and just gets overseen by the superintendents, the accountants, and project management team. Look at it and watch it all. That'll give you a week-by-week status of where you're spending it. So that's what's on the horizon for
So you're
that.
gonna have like another class, to teach us how to work all this stuff on iPad?
Correct. That's what today's about. We're gonna, the part of today is we're talking about that shirts and then iPad maintenance. So we're gonna talk about iPad maintenance, and then we're gonna do PlanGrid. We're gonna do a PlanGrid training today. Wanted everybody to just roll out PlanGrid and some of the changes that we've been using Bluebeam and PlanGrid is. PlanGrid's a little faster, they're friendly, less clunky, and it's going to give us everything that we want to be doing. So as a foreman, you have everything all in one spot, and you'll be able to run your job fully. In project management from PlanGrid. We're going to be doing in a bit. Okay, next is iPad setup and maintenance. So right now, if your iPad breaks, what do you do?
I know. So
Call Celine. Okay. What about you, Sergio? If your iPad is not working the way you want it to, or if it's slow, or password, or you don't remember password, or gets locked out, you call Chelsea, Allison, or
there's 3 RFIs of these answers.
okay.
What's that?
What about you, Gonzalo? If something's not working right on your iPad, who do you call?
Those are mine. I will call whoever is close to me.
You stop this traffic light. Hey, you, come here. Fix this.
No, the guy. He fixes it for me.
The answer that you guys gave me back was C, clarification.
Okay. What do you mean? So here's our process right now. If you have any problems with your iPad, let Dave Legier know, let Celine know. I'm working with Celine to make sure that that rule isn't slowing you guys down. That's a tool, just like Hatchet or Snips or whatever else you got in your bag. I go, that is meant to be a tool to help you go faster, not to slow you down. That's why we're going to be doing different trainings, doing different stuff, so that you guys can, this can be seen as a tool to ease your work versus burden.
And then 18, number 18.
All of the details are not there. Sometimes I have to go back to the words that
It's just that all I need is for clarification.
and you made.
So it never.
Okay, they'll be there now. That was when it was all.
Before you issued it, you go, hey, all these answers are.
You're gonna have your
Yeah.
account.
Yeah, you know, it's talking about one of
So yeah, no, that's a good point. So yeah, so let's talk about iPad maintenance, and then I'll talk about. We're gonna walk through all the PlanGrid stuff, but that's where I go. Whatever your PlanGrid experience that you had before.
Let me see what I can do on my end. Otherwise, I might have to break it up.
I did a training with the project managers and walked them through what the expectation is of updating the sets, making sure things are slip sheeted in with the addendums, that everybody's looking at the right information the right way, that you have all the RFIs, all the ASIs. I got a quick question. I got a statement as soon as I got it. Go ahead. I'll get Paul's attention too, because I want to make it. So I'm trying to think of a polite way to say this, but I'm just going to kind of say it. It's not implied, just I don't want it to offend anybody or diminish what anybody does. Construction, in regards to managing drawing sets, understanding RFIs, sometimes general contractors, and I'm saying this is industry-wide. There's so much work right now. Architects are hiring inexperienced architects. GCs are hiring people that are not at a level of competency to be running jobs. You've probably already seen it. I'm seeing it with architects. I went and walked a job. It was 3 years ago. I walked with an architect. I'd explained what an exterior joint was, that the building's going to slip and move. You need a joint here, but you have plaster, you have stone, and you have an aluminum panel system. What's the slip connect? Is it a 3/4 inch joint? And I spent an hour walking around going, oh, I never thought of that. I'm like, so we had no details on what we're supposed to do, and yet we're getting the wall framed up. And I'm like, look, I don't know how to rock that. There's other parts with the RFIs where RFIs that come in may not be clouded or affect our scope of work in a clear sense. What I mean by that, fire extinguisher cabinets, RFI comes in and changes the height. Does that affect our scope of work? From a project manager or a certain level, you go, it's a fire extinguisher cabinet, not a big deal. I'm like, well, is it surface mounted? Is it semi-recessed? Wait a second, I need to know what it is off the finished floor. Maybe they changed the height. Whatever our framers are doing, I don't know if they calculated that when they got to frame that opening out. So that RFI, even though it doesn't look like it directly affects drywall or fire rating, I need that as information. I was on a project that we added a layer of drywall. We used quiet rock on one side and 2 layers on the other side. And that the general contractor's project engineer didn't tell the electricians. So electricians didn't have the right size mud rings on the walls. And it delayed the project by like 2 to 3 weeks because they go, look, we ordered this in bulk. I got to order new stuff. It was a big hassle because one RFI, because somebody went, it's drywall, it doesn't affect electricians. So there's overlap in our industry. So that's where I'm working with Allison and Vanessa and Chelsea to go through those RFIs and go, hey, look, this is what's happening. One of the pieces that's going to help me help the project management team is I don't know the state of construction. I don't know how far we're built on projects. If they're adding 2 inches to a soffit, I'm going, okay, that's not a big deal, whatever, that's minimal to no cost. Oh, wait, we've already built the soffit? We got a demo and wait, that's that same RFI, but depending on what the state of construction is, impact, no impact. So that's where getting some visibility that I'm working with. I'll be visiting a lot of the job sites. I'll be working with you guys in regards to doing conferences. I might do a virtual job walk with you guys, like what we're doing here. I might say, hey guys, just grab your phone, walk me through the job and walk around, and you guys can show me kind of the hot issues. I'll be working with Chelsea and Allison and them to give you the projects and what you're dealing with, going, hey, this is an issue right here, and showing that so that we can unburden some of this stuff and get it across the line. So with that being said, the RFI process, I'm working with them to just get familiar with construction terminology, things that we need to be looking out for. So I'm scrubbing all the jobs on RFIs. And then those RFIs lead to PCOs and pricing on PCOs. I've heard a couple different versions, and this isn't a one size fits all. Like, we don't have to like standardize this, but there is some finesse that we want to try to create some standardization. I've seen it, and this is at other companies, where foremen write out, hi, this changed, and they'll write out their hours, material, and they'll send it in. I think I saw something that from Sergio. Sergio, you sent something in the other, you sent something to Dave Legier the other day about, hey, here's this. Sutter, Allison, she tried to put something together. Yeah. So I've seen that version. I've seen other versions where if you guys are slammed and busy, that I'm working with Allison to go, look, we can price this. We just may be calling you to get some input, because we don't, on paper, it looks like, oh, that's going to be clear. We'll just run the scaffold through. And it's like, there may be a trench there that's digging that might be impeding our work. I don't know. So we'll be talking, communicating about RFIs, going, hey, we're thinking it should be this. What do you think? So I don't want you to feel like all the burden's on you guys to have to do that, but at the same time, it's not all. It's teamwork on both sides to say, hey, look, I need to give me a view of what's really out there, what's in front of us, so that we can get this priced in. So you'll be receiving calls about that. In regards to anything that does affect a project, let me ask you right now, what is the standing right now? If something affects the project, who do you contact? Who do you let know something affects you? Whether it be T&M or delay or pricing in RFI.
I go straight to him, or I call David Smith.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Sergio, what do you do?
Well, on bill, it goes to T&M, I wrote everything all out. Take care of it then.
So you just write it out, and then who do you send
I'll
it?
send it over to
Chelsea and them. Okay. What about you, Gonzalo?
Well, I haven't get that much, but when I got a little problem, I just call by Dave and he fixes it for me.
Okay.
So I don't have to do
That's
it.
And Ricky, what about you?
The same, I just talked with Dave, and we share the burden of trying to figure it out so we can send it to him.
Okay.
You mind if I-
Yeah, go ahead, yeah.
Do you guys have any kind of policy set up, like if you do T&M, that either the superintendent, the general, or the project manager sends DMS's project manager or superintendent something, even an email saying, we direct you to do this work on.
Yeah, we don't start unless it's in the.
You guys are ahead of the game, because there's shops that if you just go and do T&M work because they give you a verbal, it'll end up in
They
the
get
bad.
so mad at us because they do it all the time. Oh, just start it.
Right here.
Yeah.
I'll show you how we do it right here.
Oh, got it right.
So
before I do any extra work, I have them fill out the work that I'm doing, the time that I spend on it, and then
You on this? To give direction and this.
oh, yeah, no, I wouldn't even start the work unless I've already told.
You're on it.
What are you saying? Usually I'm the one who tells the super, hey, send me something and write it, and I'll tell my guys to go. Because they'll call me, hey, they're not fucking doing it. Well, you haven't sent me nothing saying to do it. So I'll talk to you later, but it usually comes right through.
Good stuff.
So what I would like to, what I think for me, for best understanding to keep, because I'm working with the project management team, that if anything that's affecting your project, I'd like for you to communicate to Allison and Chelsea. If you can copy Allison and Chelsea on any emails and stuff like that, and well, I guess you need to know for manpower and material. So when you're writing an email, I would copy those three. Hey, Dave Legier and project management, this is affecting my project. And then I'll work with Dave Legier and the management team to say, hey, what's on your plate? Is this just FYI for you? We got this. We're moving this forward. Project management can ease up here a little bit, but you can see it like traffic going by and be able to identify, oh shit, he's gonna need 3 more guys, or wait, we're just about 4 guys off on this project. So if Foreman, if you can do that, just send an email in to Chelsea, Allison, and Dave Legier. Say, hey guys, this is what's affecting me. And then our teams will figure that out. Once you pass the ball to us, we'll figure it out, and then we'll call you and let you know. And then management team will work on pricing it and getting drawings updated and all that other kind of stuff. And then you'll coordinate if there's any hot issues with me to say, hey, look, this is a big deal. This is delaying stuff. Because we're going to be working on the financial side to get PCOs across completed. Okay. Any Allison or Vanessa, anything you want to say about that?
About like what RFIs and whatnot?
Yeah, just in regards to communicating about RFIs, but if anything affects a project, the foreman communicating to our office and to the superintendent, hey guys, you guys need to know about this, and then they throw the ball into our court for us to coordinate and manage, either put a price to or purchase materials.
Write clear PCOs, like if you know you have bad handwriting, maybe make a little bit better of an effort, so that way we don't have to call you every 5 minutes and be like, hey, is this a 0 or an 8? I mean, it's just minor, but I mean, we don't really want to hassle you guys nearly as much. Yeah.
The other thing
too would bring a little clarity to help in the management team. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
One other thing that I know that we see quite a bit is with tickets. Tickets don't clearly state, you know, what project you're on, or if there's a ticket number, we should be going in order with the tickets. And one other big thing is if you've got a delivery, you need to be adding those deliveries to your tickets and getting that signed off on. And if you're not getting a delivery and the foreman's leaving the job site, to add those hours in, because we should be charging for stuff like that.
So the more information you can put on your TNM thing, I'm sure you've probably heard this lots of times, more clarity and information you put on it, the easier it makes for us being able to price it and get it through. And I've been working with the management team, understanding our products around plywood and Dens glass, and you know, 3 pieces of Dens glass. Well, that's a 4x8 sheet. Oh, 3 pieces of drywall. Is that 4x12, 4x8, 4
Green, purple.
green? Yeah, I'm like, so and this isn't to slow you down. It's just, this is that little tweak on the drawing. It's like, okay, look, 1% better on this item could make us 10% better on the management team, and being able to process a little quicker.
Since we're kind of on that subject, I actually have a list of some things I need clarified for the Mako job, some details that are left out that I believe need to be in.
Yeah.
For an inspector asking me how I'm doing a
For
top
guide
track.
dogs, not Mako, guide dogs.
I'm sorry, for guide dogs, yes.
Okay.
So anyway, just maybe we could just use one of these as an example. Like, I would like to have more clarification on which anchor bolts go on which walls, depending on the different shear walls. Who is my go-to person to get these issues, get these answers answered?
Great question. So let me check in with Florida. Florida, what do you think? What would you tell Paul in this situation?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah. So what Paul's saying is that he needs to get more the project documents, the sheets and stuff like that. He needs to get clear on anchor bolts, which anchor bolts go in at which locations for the shear wall, and what sizes, and getting more levels of detail. Who's the person you think he should be talking to get that information?
So guide dogs is a bit of a shit show, to be completely honest.
So it's interesting she says that. Okay, but let's hear that out. Go ahead. So you're saying it's a bit of a shit show?
Those were the words she said,
Okay.
shit show.
All right. You guys aren't offended by that, are you? Okay.
There's actually a lot of dogs there too.
Yeah.
No, there's gonna be a lot of dogs there. So, yeah. So basically you need clarity on the hold downs and whatnot on the shear wall. That's on the south part of the building.
No, the hold downs are clear. What's not clear is the anchor holes. And I believe it's given me options, and I want to nail down the easiest option if I can. How do I get that option and make sure that the project engineer for the job and the architect are okay with the way I do it before I do the whole job and then find out?
Right. Well, I mean, one thing that we can definitely do is you can call me or email me or text me, be like, hey, let's write up an RFI for what we want to do here, and we can propose an idea. And what I'll do then is I'll send that off to the project management team over at the GC side, and we'll figure out and go from there. Because I mean, we haven't really generated any RFIs on our end just yet. I'm sure there will be plenty because, like I said, the project
I've got about 3 RFIs right here in front of me that I do want to generate. So this is a good time to decide who it is that I'm talking to.
Yeah, no, shoot me an email.
Well, so it's a good point, and thank you, Allison, for sharing everything you did. So what we'd like to do is, in the past, we've relied on the Florida team basically to process a lot of the paperwork, and we relied on Dave Legier for his construction experience to articulate and work with them. Now that things are about to expand and all that, I'm here to say, okay, anything related to pre-construction on project stuff, you need to be talking to the project management team. I tell them every day that when you submit like your question about,
I can just CC you on the.
And I'm going to talk to them. I've been working with Allison since we're in the pre-construction phase and getting things set up, or the mock-ups and all that stuff. I've been working with Allison, training her and saying, look, this is what Paul's going to ask for. This is what he's going to need. Here's what he's going to have. So I'm trying to help manage all the projects through them, so that way that they learn. And my level of construction experience will come through so that I can unburden Legier. So any questions you guys have on your projects, I want to redirect now to if you've had any hesitancy going, oh, if I send it to Allison, she may not know what black iron is, or wait, I need to get some BBs out here, or any of that kind of stuff that we use in the construction terminology. You're going, look, I don't want to wipe her out because she's flooded. I go, now's the chance where we're shifting that a little bit, going, send it over to Allison, all your questions and concerns that you would look for project management, and Dave Legier is saying, talk to your project manager. And right now, that's Allison and Chelsea as we're getting Vanessa up to speed, but Allison will be, for you particularly on guide dogs, Allison is your point person. So I'm working with her on that. So I went through all guide dog drawings and structurals, and we're there's a lot going on there.
Oh, and Dickie?
Yeah.
We are up to 181 RFIs on guide dogs for the blind.
We haven't even gotten out of the ground yet.
And part of the reason for that is that the general contractor, superintendent, that project has been delayed due to the fires in Napa County. People have the project's been delayed and rain delayed and all that stuff. So the superintendent has sat down and tried scrubbing the drawings to figure everything out. So he's been pounding out RFIs. And that's where a large amount of these questions are coming from that we're responding to get familiar. So I'm scrubbing through the RFI logs. Our team is going to start creating RFI logs now, and that will be uploaded and put into PlanGrid for you guys when we get to that piece. You guys are going to have full visibility about what's going on, what should I be looking at, so you're not blindsided by any changes.
I'll make a quick one.
Yeah.
Allison, even with where we're at right now at the Wall and Ceiling Association, they're a really good resource if we run into issues in the field of either something that we're not as familiar with. I know when I was bidding Jewish homes, it's a $10 million nice size project, just drywall alone. But like Ben Duterte, Frank Nunes here, and some of the other people, you run across complicated issues and you send them some details, they're a huge resource to get help on. Because especially as you guys are learning about drywall, you're going to run across things that good to learn that you may need some help. This is a really good, like, this is a nonprofit where we're at, that they're here to help serve all the drywall contractors. So they can exchange their info, but just for all of us too, it's nice to be able to have an organization that's there to support us that a lot of utilize now. These guys here.
So David Schmidt is, DMS is members of the Wall and Seal Association. That's why they're allowed, we're here. This is available to us at any time we want to do different events. So if this works for everybody, we'll be doing other future Foreman meetings or virtually here. They have a whole network of people, ASTMs, that they'll come out to your job site and we may be calling them to go, dude, you need to go argue with whoever the inspector is and explain to them, we're not building it that way. It meets the STC rating. They have a whole library in there full of documents, firepower to go fight the fights that we see building, doing what we're doing versus.
So how did we get involved with what?
Say again?
How did we become involved with this?
How did we get involved?
Or whatever.
So the Wall Ceiling Association. So at other companies, I've been a member of the Wall Ceiling Association. They do trainings, project management trainings, superintendent training. Wall and Ceiling Association, part of their whole goal is to protect the drywall and metal stud industry across the country. And they work with government regulations to make sure what ASTMs, California Building Code, anybody that writes a law, Wall and Ceiling Association's right there going, you don't write anything that will impact our industry without our blessing. They lean, they're going, look, buildings need to be built this way. Right. So
because the industry is changing so much.
Correct.
It's like we're constantly reinventing the wheels. So this place is trying to stop that from happening so much.
Well, they're trying to stop and they're trying to influence things. So with, let's say, a shaft wall assembly
to make our work.
Yeah, a shaft to ceiling assembly that might have been proprietary, saying you can only use these parts and pieces from Chicago Metal or from someone. You're like, we don't carry that stuff out here. What do you? No. They push and go, look, that needs to be, we need somebody else to test that, that's here, we're going to be able to do it. So, I don't know if you guys remember when Dense Glass came on board, before Dense Glass had a patent on Dense Glass, which is a fiberglass matted stuff for the exterior. Nobody else had done that. So GP had a patent on it, which basically meant no one else can make this type of board or similar for some years. And then when the patents got released, other people could make it. So they had proprietary stuff on their testing. So that meant when you're on a job, you couldn't just order willy-nilly stuff. You had to do this. So UL assemblies on like hospitals and things like that, this is the team of lawyers and experienced people and people that are influencing government that we call in to go, hey, especially when an inspector's going, hey, that's an 1/8 of an inch. I'm not going to pass that. You're like, hi, I need to call for backup. I'm not going to argue with this inspector. I need to be on his good side. Hey, management, call for backup. And I go, these guys, that's all they do is Mike's in here right now. They'll come out and go, hi, what do you need? I'll do PowerPoint presentations, workbooks.
That makes me feel big though.
Yeah.
Same on both ends.
Right. So that's a resource that we're part of. So how we got associated with them was that my experience and Tristan's experience when we were came here to visit, we were going to have a meeting here, and I said, oh, look, we're part of this and this, that. I haven't had time to join it yet. I go, don't worry, I'll join it. And I said, we'll have our Foreman meeting here because they got the TV and the camera and everything set up. So that's where we just started. We just became members, I think, last week. That's how because I've utilized other companies. I decided.
Oh my God. That's funny.
The condo and the way they staggered the joints of the board. Have Clark Dietrich and USG had teamed up. Nobody else could use. And we didn't want to use that assembly. And so we pushed back and we used Block and other people saying, that's drywall will work. And I mean, it was a big battle to get us approved because the building wasn't weathered in, so they put dense glass up at the head of the wall, you know, on top of the top track, so that you get your 2 layers passing through. Well, when they did it, they just did two rips the width of the track.
You're not staggered.
And I go, you gotta stagger. If not, that's the weak point. And so we'd go through and rip all that stuff out. And then when they put it back in with the stagger, USG came in and said, that's dense class. That's not our board. So it interrupted the assembly, and they said, you're gonna have to rip it out again. And it was like, what? We just went through and ripped it. You gotta rip it out all over again to put in, that needs to be USG.
Right.
And it was like, we had to get GP involved. It was a big ordeal. It was just morale on the project. Yeah, so does that answer your question? So project management, be communicating with
This place is more of a type deal, where it's actually looking at that affect us and finding a way to protect us.
Yes, associated with walls and ceilings.
Good.
Even as far as your own trainer, our own trainers in the field have their training program with shops for carpentry, metal stud. They'll set up classes on the weekend. We were just there. We met up with a big group with Mark, the executive of the program. Great guys, great team. Like there's a huge resource for us on both ends.
So on the building and constructability side, Wall and Ceiling Association is great for that, and the apprenticeship school and some other organizations that we're part of. In regards to, let's say, technical foreman training in regards to iPads and all that other stuff, people are developing that, and each company is developing their own. And I helped develop California drywalls when I was out at trained Dave Legier on how to use PlanGrid and stuff like that. So now I'm bringing those resources here, going, okay, we're going to train. Anything you guys want to learn about, you just let me know, and we're going to talk about that kind of thing, saying, hey, I'd like to learn more about this, because I'm doing everything I can to make your guys' job easier. You get home, you enjoy coming into work, loving coming to work and loving what we're doing is what we're trying to create. Because I know how much of a hassle construction with JHAs and safety sheets and all this. It's like, dude, am I secretary now? I'm there getting paperwork. I just want to come out and build. How do we get the administrative part taken care of a little bit easier so that we can move? That being said, so we talked about vests, we talked about project management support. One of the things that's coming down the pipeline is now that we're freeing up Dave Legier, we're going to be working on, I'm going to be working on having him pre-plan, meaning going to be working with you guys in regards to 3-week look-aheads. Our general contractors are getting more and more sophisticated, yet have less construction experience, right? They're hiring kids out of college and all this other stuff, so they're used to certain processes, and there's this gap between, hey, you guys want to use this thing, but that doesn't apply. So as an example, Los Medanos project is a new project that we've got going on. It's a two-story student unit building and a physical education area, like a gymnasium, multi-purpose area for the college. In our contract, it says BIM. They go, oh, you guys are BIM, which is building information modeling. We do 3D models. And they go, where's your model at? I'm like, whoa, wait a second. Mechanical, electrical, all those guys do the design. We don't design anything. We build stuff. We don't design it. What is it you're looking for? So I'm getting a clarification of that understanding of where the lines are at and what the expectation is what I'm trying to apply within our industry, saying, hey, drywallers can do this, but we don't do that. Unless you're saying it's in our contract. If that's the case, then we need to revise the contract. So that's where I'm working to make sure that we don't get too far into something that they're treating us like the MEP have teams of people sitting around on computers working on the model. We don't have that. We tell it, we look at the drawings, we build what you draw, off drawings. And so managing those. So pre-planning, that's going to be a real cool thing to be looking ahead 3 weeks. So I'm going to be working with him in regards, especially for manpower. I've projected every project we currently have out, so I'm trying to look to see how many guys we have in the field, where are our lulls, where does it pick up, do we loan some guys out here, all that stuff. So I've been working with Dave Legier on that so that we can have some steady workflow so we can keep all our crews working and on crew. And I hate when manpower spikes. Hey, we just hired 2 great guys on. No work for you. They go someplace else and it's hard to get them back. So we're working on seeing what we can do from the estimating side to land a consistent flow and also managing our projects to have consistent flow. So whether if we're beating the budget, we're like, look, we're almost, I think that's what's happening with you, Gonzalo, isn't it? Or no, it's on.
Yeah, it's Gonzalo.
Yeah, Gonzalo, that we've gone through all the work so fast, we're like, we've now ran ourselves out of work. And I'm like, well, would it have been beneficial to just slow down a little bit to give us an extra week until this caught up? You know, that's the stuff that we want to be looking at. I mean, don't get me wrong, I want us all to go
manpower, not production.
Yeah, correct, exactly.
We only have 4 guys.
Yeah. Yeah, so it gives us an opportunity to look at that. I'm not saying that we'll choose that, but just look to say, hey, what's there? And we can look at a bigger picture so that we are able to do that. And with that coming down, like I said, labor budgets, this is future casting. Labor budgets are going to be coming. Material ordering is going to get straight. So when we have the accounting system, we'll be able to write POs. So we're going to kind of, we'll still have the credit cards to go buy stuff, but we'll be able to call in orders to FBM and order material and schedule things out. Try to some of those things out, and then improving our time card process. Any questions about what we covered so far?
Let's say that.
Any questions from you, Damien or Ben?
No, I'm good.
Hey, by the way, this is Brooke.
So Brooke is our, she works on our accounting team. She's the one that gets all your guys' time cards and puts them in to give them over to the payroll company to write the checks.
Hey there.
She's going home now.
Yep. See you guys later. Enjoy your meeting. Bye, guys. Bye, guys.
Everything related to money, Brooke is the person. She's money. Hey, Schmidt, you need to pay this. That's her. So we all work with her to make sure you guys get everything you need. Parking receipts, reimbursements, all that stuff. That's her. Okay, so let's take just like a 5-minute kind of stretch break, relax a little bit, and then when we come back, we're going to jump into PlanGrid and going into what is PlanGrid and having that set up.
I'm with you.
Yeah, you too. You know who that is? Yeah, Gary. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
I was just super.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice. That's wow. I did not know that. Yeah, look at over there.
Since 95, bro.
Elizabeth wants to say hey.
Let me come read to you.
There's a bunch of men over there. That's Dave. They're on break right now, so everyone sit up. Just wave.
Hi.
Hello.
Dinky, this is Elizabeth.
Yes, hi, Elizabeth.
Hi, Vicky. How are you, sweetie?
Hi, I'm doing well.
We were testing it.
Oh, that's right.
I came out there and said hi. How's the meeting going?
So far, so good. We're now about to come into going into light speed.
Yay! You guys look good.
Then we're going to gain some energy and keep things moving and ask some questions about PlanGrid. So.
Hey, were them chips for everybody?
Yeah, there's some chips in there.
Hey, it's some chips. I'm from surgery. We didn't have them.
Yeah.
Best friend, you can take a break. You too, Ben. Break.
Roll it up.
All right.
10-minute break. We're gonna go regroup.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Yeah, we gotta get this stuff done. That's good. Man, yeah. Crazy because we pretty much had
West. Oh, we gotta go to the You guys want to see what Florida looks like?
That's where I'm sitting.
Your Schmidt's office when he yells at you guys.
Is that Mar-a-Lago?
There's Trump Tower.
Oh, the Trump Tower.
There's Mar-a-Lago.
Someone's in there.
There's two restrooms. There's two restrooms.
one at a time, player, working with a monster. Oh, God. Smoker sleep?
I am, but I wanted to go
I
to the
haven't had secondhand smoke in a long time.
What else out there? What are you talking about?
Yeah. A long time ago.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wow.
Yeah.
How did you?
I started when I was like 22. And I started off playing hardwood floors when I was 19. I was still in college. I went to Santa Clara University. Got paid prevailing wage.
We did this in Thompson.
Like 18.
Yeah.
So I was like, at that prevailing wage, you realize I needed a trade.
Yeah.
You know, so I've been running work since 1990.
Okay.
Schools, Valley City,
Oh,
City
okay.
College.
Hey, Allison, can you bring those boxes in here? Those two boxes. Keep the monitor off and sit on the ground and bring the boxes in. Set them up right
We did urgent care, and I was with something called Best Drywall.
Okay.
And freaking actually,
Yeah, the two boxes.
I couldn't keep access. We lost the guy.
You've been around this industry, so you probably worked in all kinds of places.
In college, I know.
There now?
Bass, KHS, and Cow.
Oh, KHS. And where'd you work? Cal, where'd you work at?
Working so build the last.
Oh, okay.
That was true. I don't care what they want.
Oh, yeah, I work with two.
No, it's not so sharp.
Yeah. Oh, my brother's got to be doing
Are you
bunch
sure
of own work.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
There we go. That's much better.
Isn't it in that folder? Don't you have a million folders in there?
Yes, I
There you go. Save. Yeah, and you have a blank one on it. Now, if you want to save as again and put it in your other folder, so you have them in your other folders, you can still do that.
Well, my other jobs.
Yeah, so you go back. Go back again. Go back again to where it's right again.
Oh, exactly. Why they ask that?
Right? That's no doubt.
I know, but it was right here, so you save it again and put it in a different folder. Back. One more time. One more time.
She said that? Yeah, she did. She was that.
See, I was quick too. Yes. Now, we can put it in the other one.
Oh, that's it for right now. We got me confused.
How do I have you confused?
Because
you fucking confused electronics on.
Yeah. Bottom line, yeah.
So now you can
Okay,
check.
so now we'll transfer.
Do it.
Just do that one.
There is?
Yeah.
And I learned something. I think I do all, no.
Oh. I guess the chips were for everybody.
Be out of it.
Okay, now we're gonna jump into,
Thank you.
so Allison and Vanessa, you guys have an iPad there?
Chelsea's grabbing it right now.
Okay, because this is where we're gonna kind of jump into, light speed. PlanGrid. I'm gonna jump into PlanGrid. So everybody needs to have PlanGrid open, or you need to be logged into your own account. If you've been using David Schmidt's account, I need you to log out and log into your own account. And I'm gonna have Celine help and support it as that happens. And then- No, I want those two together. Paul and Gonzalo, and who else is over here?
Paul Gonzalo and Sergio and Celine.
I don't want
We vote on this? Never mind, he's right here.
You ain't first, you last, son.
Where's
Damn it, Daddy. Oh, yeah, all these guys.
And you're familiar with using PlanGrid, yeah?
Yeah.
You're,
I mean, I'm not an
that's what
expert
I'm
of
saying,
it, but
yeah. No, we're everything we're gonna walk through, okay? I'm just trying to get everybody cleared up. so.
Oh, Steven.
Well, I think I'm gonna put Jose with Steve.
Okay, be the one that knows anything about language, right? You do?
Okay.
I didn't know. No disrespect.
Salty your ass right
My
now.
bad, that's my boy too.
Jesus.
Okay.
Using it for like 10 years.
Have you really?
We've got
Fuck, I just started using it.
Okay, so if I was to ask on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being nothing, like very little about PlanGrid, and 10 like I'm very versed, I feel confident. On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you say you're at?
7, 8.
7, 8, 0,
30.
3,
4,
4.
5, maybe.
That's okay.
You're going the wrong direction.
It all works.
Keep
And-
going north now.
Yeah. What would you say you're
Probably
at?
7, 8.
7, 3, 5, 7 or 8. No, hold on. That's a different. No, it's all good. I'm just. And if you were to rate yourself a 3. Okay.
I'm gonna try explaining myself.
Damien, Chelsea 7. Damien, how would you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 of feeling confident with PlanGrid?
Probably around a 7, 8, something. Pretty confident.
And then Ben,
I've never opened it up. I've never even 0.
Okay. All right. No, it's great because I'm just trying to get the sense. So, all right. So then, what I want to do, everybody here. Those two. So we're going to do. Okay. So Legier, what I'm going to have you do is you're going to be my support.
Okay.
Okay. So that means that Jose, you're going to team up with Steve. If you want to go sit next to Steve, Legier, Legier, I want you to just make sure as we go step by step, If anybody gets lost, you're able to get them back on track because we're going to move through this. Now, I know I'm saying this like we're going to move through this, like we're going to move through it like fast. We are going to move through it fast, but we're going to move through it with clarity every step of the way. Meaning no one's going to get lost. We're going to do this as a team, groups. So Ricky and Lawrence, you're a team, and you're a team. Which means that as you're working on PlanGrid, you're going to be checking and making sure you're on the exact same step-by-step and asking questions so that way no one gets ahead and then we're disjointed, okay? So for us to do this meeting, so I'm going to put my trainer hat on now. So just to give you a little bit of background. So I've been taught by some of the world's best accelerating learning teachers. So what that means is that what I'm going to be teaching you today in regards to PlanGrid, how many want PlanGrid to be like easy? Just want to be able to learn PlanGrid easy. Okay, how many want to learn it and just not feel like you have to take any kind of notes? Just it all goes into your head and you just remember it. Right? So that's what we're going to be doing today. The way I'm going to be teaching you is a special methodology in order to do that. So I'm going to be asking you to do things that may seem a bit silly, but in that it engages you. Okay? So I'm going to be asking you a lot of questions. May I ask you to raise your hands. Now, the reason why I ask you to raise your hands is that you're probably already thinking the answer in your head. I'm just asking you to say it out loud. Okay? As you say it out loud, you retain it more. Okay? The other is that sometimes I might be asking you questions and ask you to fill in the blank. See how your mind's go? You're already filling in the blank. So I'm going to be asking that to keep the energy high and keep this class from being boring. Okay? So to do that, learning requires energy. Okay, so what does this say? Twice as loud? Louder?
Learning requires energy.
Learning requires energy. So for us to learn, we have to open up our minds and be able to go through this and do that. So everybody listening in on the camera, this is where the energy, we're going to go through step by step. We're going to communicate and we're going to answer every single question so that when you guys come out of this, you have total clarity on how to use PlanGrid, how you're going to see it of value to your project, and how we're going to be able to use it and should be solving a large part of your problems. Okay? So with that, we're going to begin. So sometimes I'm going to ask, is everybody page? If I say if everybody's on this page, or is everybody at this point, I want you and your team to say yes. If you're not on the point that I'm pointing to, I need you to raise your hand and Dave Legier will come over because sometimes you might press something and it might jump you into a different spot. We're going to walk through and Dave Legier is going to help and answer any questions to make sure we move through this all at the same time. Are there any questions? Okay. So, welcome to PlanGrid Training Navigation. So let's talk about a little bit what is PlanGrid. So PlanGrid. PlanGrid, back in my day, like I'm an old, I had a big set of drawings, and I'd use those set of drawings, and I'd have to flip through all that sheets. PlanGrid has said, look, if we could digitize that and make it just as easy to flip through sheets and be able to look at that, the problem was with my sheet, I used to have a shelf above my plan table, and it had binders full of RFIs. Because I'd have to tag the drawings, and over on my other sheet, I'd write RFI 72 effects, you know, this, I'd write over here 72, and I knew here, and I'd put a description, and if I wanted to pull it out, I'd put it here, have to make a copy, give it to the lead guy, hey, here you go, make sure to lay out this way, here's the dimensions. With all those binders. PlanGrid puts all that in our fingertips without using the binders and allows us to manage our sets of drawings effortlessly and easy. And then I had a part where I had the old set of drawings or different addendums that came out, right? You have to pull that out. Oh, here's the ASI and update my plans that way. PlanGrid puts that all into one package. So this is a total plan management system for RFIs communicating about your project. Okay, so navigating. So I want everybody to open up. We're going to go to PlanGrid. You guys can see my screen. Florida, yes?
Yeah.
Yep, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so on your iPads, everyone should be on their home screen like this. Something similar to this. Okay, is everybody there?
Yes.
Anybody not? Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to select PlanGrid. You're going to memorize this icon because we're going to be using it a lot. Everybody select PlanGrid, and when you open up PlanGrid, you're going to see a list of jobs.
I used to have them all, I only got 2.
Okay.
You gotta invite you to them.
Well, no, that's where, so that's a good point. You're seeing Job Central, everybody should see in their projects? Like, yeah.
Don't worry about that. Mm-mm. Not for you.
I'm sorry, can you not talk?
Okay, Celine, you logged in David Schmidt?
He has to. We try to do his own. He has too many sheets. So Stephen might have, used his own.
Gotcha. Okay, we'll work with that.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. So you're good.
Yeah.
Where you're at. Gotcha. I want you to download Sutter Health for yours. You've got.
Central.
He's got guide dogs and I don't got guide dogs. So basically mine was Manuel Patino's, and mine was Manuel Orozco's in the past, so we think hopefully we got them all.
Gotcha. So we need to get you.
Now she has to invite me to all the other.
Okay, do you know how to invite him into Guide Dogs?
I just log into yours and then send him the link.
All right. Well, we're doing okay. Can you do that here now?
I might have embellished a little bit when I said 7 or 8.
7 or 8 what?
Fine with me.
The level of PlanGrid proficiency.
Damien's at a 9. I said Damien's at a 9.
I didn't say 9.
Oh, you said 10? I'm sorry.
He said 7 or 8.
I lost everybody.
We're here.
Dickie, we should have had a pre-meeting. I actually really wanted to get here early, but it didn't.
Sorry.
No, it's not. No one's fault.
It was an hour and 15 minutes to get here. I took an hour.
Here's the admin console. There's Paul and everything. Okay, so is everybody seeing, they're seeing a list of jobs on their screens, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, are you guys with me?
Yeah. Yes.
Are you with me?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so everybody should see a list of their jobs. When you come up, we're going to go over the navigation of what this screen is. This screen is going to tell you a list of all your jobs downloaded. You may see some of you have been only invited to certain jobs because if we have 100 jobs, I don't want you staring at 100 jobs. We'll just narrow it down to the jobs that you want to be added to. If there's any project you want to be added to, you just email Celine or your project manager, and we'll get you added to whatever projects you need to be added to. Okay? When it comes up on your iPads, you have a choice of downloading it. So it's either downloaded and it sits on your iPad or it stays up in the cloud, which means that you can take big projects and get them off of your iPad so it doesn't slow your iPad down if you're not working on that project anymore. You don't need those sheets. You can kick it back up to the cloud and download something new. Management. Okay. So on this part, let's just go through some of the key features. There's a search bar. So if you had a whole lot of projects, you just type in the search bar and you'd be able to search for your project. Okay, there's a little icon up in the upper left. Press the icon. Icon will tell you what's new. PlanGrid has been giving updates every 2 weeks for the past 2 years. They've been improving and improving and improving and adding new features constantly. So as they add those new features, if you press what's new, it'll pop up with a bubble and it'll tell you, hi, here's the newest ads that we've done. So it lets you know about new features, lets you know what's going on. So if you wanted to get caught up and learn about stuff, you press one of those links and it'll tell you about the new features that they've added. Okay, next icon over is called Learn PlanGrid. It's a little light bulb. press that icon, what pops up?
I don't know.
I have one of those.
Yeah, there's.
I got an LED, but not a light bulb.
Really?
No, none of us do. Not my.
Okay. All right.
That's David Schmidt, he's one of the power users.
That's why.
Okay. So, okay. All right. Well, just know that there's a light bulb here, and when you press that light bulb, if we get you set up that way, they have tutorials in here to use how to use sheet versions, compare sheets, create issues, and photo logs. So this is a beta test. What a beta test is hi, we've got this new thing. We want to issue it to you guys, but I'm going to only pick a certain group of people that are continuing to use it so they get feedback. So those are called beta test users. Hey, what works, what doesn't work about it? Now that we've got all the kinks worked out, we're going to release it out to the general public. So beta testers are like the first test group to get something, okay? I think David Schmidt and I are in that test group, okay? Now, lower left-hand corner, you should see a cloud with an up and down arrow.
Yes.
That's the download and upload window. When you're downloading something like a project, if you click that, it will pop up with a window and tell you, hey, this sheet's drawing, and it'll show you the progress of what's being downloaded. At any point in time, you can pause the download and look at something and then go back to downloading at another point in time. So that's just a screen to let you know about what's downloaded.
Does it function at the same speed if you download it?
Not understand the question. So say a little bit
I
more.
don't have a ton of experience with PlanGrid. Like, does it seem bogged down if you're working out of the cloud?
Depends on how many sheets there are. It can
So you
take
never
a
work
long
out of the
time.
cloud. You always download onto the iPad. It sits up in the cloud waiting for you to download. And so on the iPads. On the iPads, you download it onto your device, and once it's on your device, it's there, so you can use it online or offline, and then it'll sync whenever it needs to. Uploads is if you had a drawing or something that you wanted to upload. Project managers we get the drawings first, so we're the ones putting a lot of that information in so that our foreman can just sit and download. But it is possible, I think Sergio, you're familiar with putting stuff in there. Emmanuel, I think, was familiar with putting stuff into where you. That's with that screen. Any more questions about this? Okay, lower right-hand corner. Lower right-hand corner is your refresh button. So if I send you something and you don't got it, you press the refresh button. It'll tell you down here at the bottom to updated today at a certain point in time. It'll tell you the last time that you got an update. Then you know where the status of your set of drawings is at. Okay? Any questions about the navigations? No? Okay, in the upper right-hand side, you got the account information. If you press that, that tells you what user you are. If you're signed in as David Schmidt or signed in as you, and then there's a drop-down window that will give you more information there. If you need to log out, anything like that, that's where that button's at. This all happens on what I call the project view screen, where you're big picture, you're looking at all the sets of drawings before you dive into the details, okay? Now let's jump into a project. So I'm going to have you guys select a project. So I want you to pick a project, whether it's a project you have available, whether it be Guide Dogs or Burke Warehouse or Central, pick one of your projects, okay? And Allison and Brooke, and that, if you guys following along, you're going to pick a project, okay? Then I'll bring you to this screen. When you're on this screen, we're going to navigate what you're looking at before we press anything else. So my first question is everybody here?
Yes.
Is there anybody not? Okay. Nothing? That's okay.
Project. Yeah, download it.
Gotcha.
So you want to go to Sonoma?
No, just whatever project's available.
Whatever they. Project downloaded.
Okay. Pick one with a small number of sheets.
That's what I'm looking for.
Okay. Okay. So is everybody else staring at the screen like this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. At the top, you're going to see a search window. This search window will search for pages. So let's say you wanted to go to the A9 sheet. You can type A9 and it'll take you to the A9 sheets. What it does is filters. Okay, what's the word I said?
Filter.
Filters. What's special about filters? Filters does not delete your pages. It just shows you the information you want to see and hides the rest. So filtering is just hiding and showing you what you want to see. So you don't have to worry about, oh, it disappeared, it deleted. It just filtered, it got, and then you can turn your filter off and everything will become visible. Okay? If you type in search for the A9 sheets, PlanGrid also has another feature that allows you to search pages and words. So if you're looking at a detail, and this goes for, and I think Allison's experienced this on the iPad, is that if you're looking for a word like hold downs or plaster, you can type the word plaster and it will find the word plaster occurring in every single document, and it will tell you, hi, these 17 pages have plaster, and it'll highlight where plaster is at. So if you're looking for a particular detail, or you're going, ah, dude, what was the name of that thing? Because sometimes there's specialty items. You can type that word in and it will highlight and feature product, especially when I use a lot for access panels, or if I'm looking for welding, I'll type in welding, or like 8-inch stuff. It'll show me all the pages that have it by using the search feature. Okay?
Is that a highlight, or does it take the
It does,
pages out?
it highlights.
It'll highlight. Okay, so let's test it out right now. So type a word inside of your search. Type drywall. So up here in the search bar, you should be able to type a word, or you can try door. If you want to see your floor plan, you can type floor, roof, structural element.
BT, Mamito, White Girl,
Doesn't work.
my best friend's in the screen.
Okay, is there anybody else having, is everybody else, are we good? Should we go to the next step? Or
Next step.
Next step.
Next step.
Okay. Next step. Next step. Okay. So this is the search bar, but down here below, which I forgot to highlight, these are all your sheets. So these are thumbnails of your sheets. So there's thumbnail pictures of each of your sheets. When we look at the thumbnail underneath the picture of your sheets, you're going to see some icons. Okay? In this example that I have on the screen, I'm showing you what all options are available. So you may see some on your particular project, you may not. I'm just showing you what may show up. Here's your total version. You're going to see a squiggle line, a crown, and a thing that usually has a V, and I'll have a 1, 2, 3. Okay, so what do those items mean?
Markups published in volumes.
Yep. So the squiggle line means personal markups. Okay, personal markups means that you can mark up your set of drawings and it doesn't affect anybody else's set of drawings. So if you're writing a note, hey, I need to check this out, or confirm whatever RFIs, when you make your markups, it's not visible to me. It's not visible to Chelsea. It's not visible to David Smith. It's not visible to Lear. It's your own personal note. So you can mark up the drawings any way you want. So then that leads into the crown. The crown is the publish or master markups. So let's say I'm working on a 10-story building and I go, oh, there's this RFI and I need to let the layout guy know, I need to let the wall framer know, and I need to let the ceiling guy know because they changed all this stuff. I, as a project manager, can go in and highlight a section, and then I can say publish, and it now will upload to everybody else's sets of drawings. So everybody's working on the same master set of drawings by the work that I did. So it saves me time from having to duplicate and carry around a half set and walk up to the floor and tell each team member. I can mark up one set, and if I hit publish, it publishes to everybody else on the project. And so then V, if it has a V, it has versions of your sheets. Meaning somebody has slip sheeted and added another sheet on top of this. And it'll tell you which versions how many versions of that sheet there are. So in guide dogs, I think we're up to 2 or 3 versions of a sheet in there. Central, there's 3 versions of a sheet. Burke, I think we just added in shop drawings. So for the past month, I've been working to put that in. Okay. Now let's go back to up to the top, back to this screen. Is everybody with me on this screen?
Yes.
Yeah. Is everybody on this screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Is everybody on this screen?
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
Me and Gonzalo, we'll catch up.
Okay, is everybody on the screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so in the upper right-hand corner, you have a filter and a bell button. Okay? Press the filter. If you press the filter on yours, the filter button is going to give you a bunch of different options. So I want you to press the filter button now. When you press the filter button, it's going to give you options on different check marks that you can check. So you can look at sheets that have your own personal markups on it. You can look at sheets that have master markups on it. You can look at sheets that have attachments. You can look at sheets that are part of all this. So you can manage your whole set of drawings to go, I just need to get it consolidated down to look at these things. So it's a good search filter for you to consolidate hundreds of sheets down into 2 or 3 sheets. Okay, then the bell. What is the bell for? Press the bell button. The bell button is a notification that lets you know when's the last time somebody uploaded something new in here. So that's going to tell you, hey, there was a new version of the sheets pushed in here. So it gives you a little bit of history to say, hey, project manager has pushed stuff in here so that you know about it. Okay? So now down at the bottom part of the page, you're going to see a whole bar that says sheets, documents, issues, field reports, team, and more. Okay? So sheets. What is sheets? You are looking at the sheets page. This is referring to your set of drawings. These are the 34 by 40 page drawings, the floor plans and all that. That's what we're looking at. These are all the sheets. Okay, documents. Documents are all the additional documents, and that opens up into a whole nother world of folders to let you know. So RFIs, you can do RFIs, schedules, other different documents can go underneath that. So it occurs as a paper clip so that you can attach it to your set of drawings. And the other is a boxing glove, which referred to as issues. The reason why it's a boxing glove, originally it was meant to be for punch lists. So this is where you could go and make individual stamp markups on your project for you to go, oh, I got this issue, that issue, I got to remember this is where outstanding, and we're going to talk more about that later, but this is where you would navigate to find that. And there's another button called Field Reports. The Field Reports is where you're able to do your daily field reports, job logs, safety meetings, sign-in sheets, all that stuff. This is going to be your file cabinet for all the additional documents. Okay, the team button allows you to add other members to a team. So if we bring on other foremen, or if you want to add to a lead guy that has his own PlanGrid account, you can share your set of documents by adding a team member into this project. Okay. And then there's the More button, and then the More button leads to some additional functionality, which again we'll talk about more later. Now, let's dive into a sheet. Let's actually go into a page and dive into it. So I want you to dive into a page. Go into a sheet, any sheet that you want. We're going to pick a sheet and jump into a sheet. Is everybody on a sheet?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so when you're on a sheet, when you're in full view like this, it's going to look something like this, and there's a toolbar on the right-hand side. You should get a whole nother set of toolbars, and up at the top, you're going to see some different navigation tools at the top. Okay? let's start with the navigational tools. Let me see where. Okay, good. I'm going to stay right here. Perfect. Okay. So let me tell you what the buttons do, and then we're going to jump in and start working with the buttons. Okay. If you press the sheets buttons on the upper left-hand side, that jumps you back out to look at the full set of your full set of sheets. So this is the zoomed-in version. This tells you the set that you're working with. So on this particular project, this is the conform set. So you might have a bid set, conform set, addendum 1 set, different version sets. This tells you. The clock, that gives you your history. So when I have a set of drawings and I'm turning to a page, I go, great. Well, back in the day, I would just fold that page in half so that I could roll back and forth. Well, how do I do that on PlanGrid? Well, on PlanGrid, I jump to the page, and if I want to jump back, I press the history button. It tells me a list of every page that I jump to, so I just jump back to the last page. So that's how I flip back and forth in my drawings. If I'm looking at details, I want to look at the floor plan, I want to look at the details, I want to look at the floor plan, I jump back and forth using the clock or moving forward on this. Okay? Next button over is compare. So back in the day, I used to have a set of drawings, and I'd have another set of drawings, and I had to sit and flip and look at the cloud, and did they move a dimension? Did they add a wall? PlanGrid has a feature that if you have another set put in there, it allows you to overlay, which means that it'll take the old version and the new version and it'll lay exactly on top. If it's not exactly on top, there's a button feature that you can press that will allow you to align it. You can align it so it lines up perfectly, and you'll see, and it'll be red and blue. Okay? So you can compare that. We're not going to go deep dive just yet on that, but that you can compare your seats to see what changed from one set to the other. That's your compare feature. Your filter feature works similar to the one above, but this filter feature allows you to hide any markups. You can say, I only want to see stuff that has arrows. I only want to see stuff that has clouds. I only want to see stuff in red. I only want to see stuff in yellow. I only want to see stuff in green. I only want to see it marked up by me. You can filter all those items out. And then you have a file cabinet. That file cabinet leads to a lot of the other additional documents, RFI schedules, other additional documents. That's your file cabinet to accessing other documents. Okay, so then what is the square with the arrow on it?
Upload or
Email.
I don't know.
Email file, email snapshot.
Email file, email snapshot. Yes. So yes. So with that button, go ahead and press it. That is the share button. What that does, it allows you to share this page or snare a shot view. So as Foreman, here's how you would use that tool. If you're writing an RFI and you cloud a wall and you go, I need to get this communicated to Allison and Chelsea, hey, there's something that's impacting this wall or something's not jiving here, or I need a dimension for this, we need to write an RFI for a dimension, I can cloud a set of drawings and say I need a dimension for this, take a snapshot, go up in the upper right-hand corner, hit share, and email it over to the project management and say, there's your RFI. Hi guys, I need a dimension for this wall. Instead of trying to type up, oh, it's the north wall between grid line C and D on the 3 line, you can now just take a picture, go, I need information for here, and send it and say, this is what I need an RFI about. And that's your share button. It allows you to share the drawing or the document, and it will tell project management what page you're on. So we know exactly what page, we know exactly where you're looking, and it lets us know that. That's the share button. Okay? And then there's a search this sheet field, which is right below that. It's long bars that search this sheet. And searching the sheet allows you to look for words on that particular page or images on that page. Is there any questions about what we've covered so far?
Even? Start all over. What? What's going on? I didn't quite understand all of this.
No, that's great. No, you're doing great. So where?
Your pictures, just so I know.
That's okay. No.
No, I understand all the icons that go here to there, but you say now cloud. I had to take on a phone call. Yeah, but where would you draw a cloud in?
Okay, great. That's where we're going to next. So you're in the perfect spot. So everything that we've covered right now, everything we covered right now is just what the buttons do. Okay, that's what these top buttons do. But now we're going to go into how do we draw a cloud, how do we do our markups. So this is referred to as the markup toolbar. Okay, so now we're going to jump into a markup toolbar and how to actually mark up and make these sheets useful to us. Okay, so let's talk about these buttons. So the top button with the finger, it has dots on it. That is a select. What that means is if you're looking at my screen right now, you'll see an arrow, you'll see a cloud, and you'll see a highlight. If I wanted to delete all three of those items, one way is to press this, hit delete, press that, hit delete, press that, and hit delete. If I press the multi-select and I drag my finger over and touch all those items, it'll highlight all the items that I touch and I can hit delete once. Instead of doing it 3 times, I hit multi-select, I can highlight all 3 and just delete it all at once. So that's the multi-select tool. Okay. Now, the next item down is a cloud. That allows you to make clouds. So if you want to do that now. You can mark a cloud on your set of drawings because these are your sets of drawings. Take and mark a set of clouds anywhere you want. Just take and draw a cloud anywhere you want.
I'm gonna get this.
Okay, so does everybody have a cloud?
Yes.
Yeah?
We got 2 clouds.
Paul, you got a cloud?
Yes, sir. Line inside of it.
Hey, we're not there at that step.
Cloud? Cloud?
I'll take the Sharpie.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Color of the Sharpie.
Okay. Now, so that's how you want to make a cloud. Damon, that's how you know how to make clouds on your. I was checking out Kuwaya's. That was everything you did on yours looked really great.
Thank you.
Okay? That's how to make clouds. Okay. The next item below is how to make arrows. You press that and make arrows. Yes.
You should stop and you can actually touch the cloud, and if you don't want it in that specific area, you can move it to where you want or make it smaller.
Okay, so if I'm understanding what you're saying is that when you put a cloud on your sheet, if you don't like the way it's set up, like it didn't give you the right shape, you can press it again and it'll give you 4 white dots to allow you to resize it. Is that what you're saying, Celine?
Yes.
Okay, so you can resize your clouds. You can change your markups at any point in time. Thank you, Celine. Yes.
Since I switched over to the new one, on all the stuff that I had marked all up, where's that at? Is it still?
It's still on David Schmidt's account.
Okay, because I have all my information on.
Gotcha. So what, I need to go into David Schmidt's account and push all those to the master so that it's available to you. Because right now it's only on his
I was
set.
like, oh my god, I got all Bill, all my stuff in the cloud.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, but now you're the author of it and you can share it and you can show that stuff. So yes, we'll go through that. Thank you, Sergio. Okay? So if you want to write arrows and point to stuff, you'd press the arrow button and you pick one spot, next spot, make an arrow. Okay? Now, the thing worth noting where we're going to next. The next item down is a pen. If you wanted to write a note, you could write it with your finger. You could use a pen. Next item below that is highlight. So if you want to highlight something, press the highlighter. The difference between the pen and the highlighter. So the difference, so I want to make sure I got everybody to say, so the pen, everybody say pen with me?
Pen.
Thank you. Pen is not transparent and is very thin. A highlighter is wide and is transparent so you can see through it. That's the difference between the two. Do you want fat and transparent? Do you want skinny, like you're going to circle something? You'd use the pen to circle something. You could use a highlighter to highlight inside of it. Does that make sense? Okay. So then what is the T inside of a box? Text. Okay. So here's what I want everybody to do. I'm going to show you an advanced shortcut. So take it, press the text box, and press somewhere on the sheet and make a text box. Okay. Everybody just has a text box open? Okay, now pause, don't type anything yet. I just want to see the text box. Text box?
Text.
Show me the text box.
Hold on, don't type nothing yet. Hey.
Okay, don't type anything yet.
As I'm talking to you.
Make it bigger. Just start right here.
You're not following along. I'm gonna rat you out, fool.
Yeah. You just stay right there.
You got it?
Great. Okay, so in that text box, you're going to see at the top, you're going to see a box of your window that you're looking at. That box means, do you want to border the box? Sometimes you want to border your box, and other times you don't want to border around your box. Okay. The next items where it has A, little a, big A, that is your text size. Do you want it written in little letters? Do you want it written in big letters? You can change your letter size. Now, below that is the field where you could begin to type. Now, at the bottom, you should have had a keyboard pop up. Keyboard popped up?
Yes.
Okay. Now, here's the advanced feature. Me, I don't like typing. I'm great at typing. I can type 60 words a minute with 95% accuracy. But I hate typing when there's an easier way. The highest speed for typing, like I said, most people average type about 60 words a minute. You can voice type 160 characters a minute, 160 words a minute. To voice type, you press the microphone in the right at the bottom of the space bar, left-hand side. Press the speaker button, and what will happen, it'll say allow dictation.
Hi, I'm Rick. Old as fuck.
Type in text and put it in. Type in text box. RFI affected this area. Shaft wall got moved.
RFIs.
Here. Okay, say that my first guy I ever worked for. I can tell I work here still.
He can.
Get the hell out of here.
So if you guys don't want to type, just press speak into it, put it in, and then correct and move on. That is a huge time saver, especially when you're in the field trying to figure out how to spell something. Just speak it and go.
Do it all the time because I can't spell.
Yep. Okay, so that's one of the advanced features. Okay, so the text box. And then you can touch it again and resize it the way you want. Okay, any questions about text box? Steve, are you good? Okay. The next items down are shapes. So if you wanted a shape like a circle or a square, you press that, it's going to open up another bar. It gives you a window to different shapes. So what are all the different shapes when you press it?
I see a square,
Square,
X.
Circle, X.
Yeah?
Oh, we didn't see that? We got a line.
Okay. So this gives you different access to different shapes if you want to draw shapes. Okay. Next item down is the punch. But before we go to punch, I want to show you two more features because we're going to come back. We're going to come back to punch. Okay. We're going to save the issues for last. So down the next item, you should see two rings, like chain link. Okay.
Hyperlink.
Oh, no, that's.
Hyperlink.
Okay. So what does the chain link mean?
Well, when you touch
Any guesses?
Set up a link to your RFIs or documents that changed.
So it's referred to as a hyperlink. Now, what is a hyperlink? A hyperlink means that whatever I put on the page, when I press it, it's going to take me someplace else. As an example, if I'm looking at a drawing, and in this case, you see this cloud and how it's shaded? The difference between the cloud that you guys made earlier and this cloud is this is a hyperlinked cloud, which means that if I press that, it will pop up with a bubble that says there's another document that's referenced in here. So example would be if I clouded a wall and I said an RFI affected this wall, you could press that and the RFI will pop up.
Say jump to sheet, right?
It's like jumping to a different sheet. So now you can literally have all your RFIs, instead of being in binders, all your RFIs are clouded and available to you in the hyperlink. Now you could create your own hyperlink. So if you wanted to create a hyperlink, you can press the hyperlink button, put it somewhere on the page, but what it's going to ask you is what shape do you want your hyperlink to take? So press the hyperlink button now, and you're going to get a toolbar. And it's going to ask you, what kind of shape do you want your hyperlink to be? Do you want it to be a circle? Do you want it to be a square? Do you want it to be a cloud? What do you want it to be? Now, when you place the hyperlink on your page, it's going to say, well, now that you did this, what do you want me to hyperlink to? Do you want me to jump to a different sheet? So if you're always referencing, let's say, the reflected ceiling plan, you go, I want to see a section cut, or if I want to see the floor plan, you could create your own hyperlink to jump between the pages. Back in my full set, I'd have tabs, you know, the drawings would roll up. I'd put stickies on the side so that I could flip back and forth. Now I can hyperlink, I can just jump to those pages because I'm always referring to them again and again. Now, if it's an RFI, and we'll talk about that a little more further, but this allows you to link to RFIs into documents. And we'll talk more about what's the difference between an RFI and a document. Okay? So any questions about hyperlinks? Oh, I have a question. How do you determine something is hyperlinked? What is the difference between this cloud and that cloud?
It's shaded.
Doesn't delete when you go to it doesn't let you delete that one.
It won't let you delete?
Yes.
Okay. What else? What else is in the room then? Any other guesses? Okay.
If you
So-
click on it, it'll jump to another sheet.
So what's the difference between that cloud, and I press and I highlight my cloud, and this cloud? How do I know the difference? What is a hyperlink and what is just a shape? Because you have a circle shape, and then you have circle shape here, and you have a circle shape here.
Right.
A second screen will pop up, link to sheet.
Yep. So the difference how you tell on a set of drawings is that the inside is fill in and shaded, and it will sometimes put lettering in there. If you don't want lettering there, you can turn that off. You can say, I don't want that to say any words, and you can turn the border off. So the difference is, if you're just drawing a cloud, it's just going to highlight around something. If you want it to hyperlink, you have to choose the hyperlink and pick the cloud shape out of the hyperlink tool.
Projection board.
No? Okay.
It'll come to me. I have to do it a couple of times, you know.
Okay.
Something that's real. Somewhere.
Oh, in theory? Okay, gotcha. That's what I'm like. If you had your job on there, you'd be able to look at and see. And what, you know, he doesn't, you're using Dave Schmidt, so you downloaded, okay.
So I just made a little mark with the hyperlink, and now I can't remove it.
You gotta edit, scroll up.
Okay.
Oh, that's just, yeah, there it is.
Had the same issue.
Yeah. So we're good?
Good.
We're good? Okay. So that's the hyperlink feature. You have an understanding of it, yes? Okay, next is the ruler. So what does the ruler do?
Scale.
Okay, so it's going to allow you to measure things. Now, step one is you have to set your scale. So there's a calibration tool. How do you calibrate on your set of drawings?
Find a dimension on the prints.
Great, so do that now. Go to your set of prints, find a dimension, we're going to set scale. Press your ruler, and there's the calibrate tool, which is like a compass. It's going to say, okay, where do you want me to calibrate? Drag from one dimension line to the other dimension line. And you just type in feet, inches.
And you copy that in number. And then it'll mark specific dimension. That's the one. I'm not saying everything.
Press it once.
You see what I'm saying? Cancel.
That's
why I said make it bigger.
Yes, now like, I use it like a quick.
That's why I said make it even to where it's not,
Press and drag.
it's not like 19 feet, 9 3/4.
Good? Good?
6'7".
Okay.
Calibrate signs.
What's your calibrator?
Okay, right.
Yeah, you can publish the project, and now your sheet is calibrated. Now, when you go, so let's make sure everybody's got calibrated. Let's get the first part. We got the calibration tool. You have a markup that has calibration on it? Yeah? Jose?
Done.
You got one?
And now,
Tristan, Sergio, you guys have one that's calibrated? Calibrated?
Yep.
now you-
Gonzalo?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when you press the ruler again, press the markup tool again, what happens?
Ooh, there's more options.
It's now saying that now that you've set scale, I will measure stuff for you. Okay? Now, let's talk about that little toolbar. What's in the little toolbar? Okay. You guys can see. So I want to make sure, because this is.
No, that's
Is it
it.
calibrated?
That's what's supposed to come up, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. So let's look at that.
It's the same. It's just like blown.
He's got iPad.
Stay right there, stay right there. Are you? Bring up your calibration tool. There you go, stay right there. Okay. Okay, so let's talk about the tools that are on there. So what's the first tool you see from left to right in the upper left?
The calibrating tool.
Calibrating tool. Great. Then what's the next tool to the right?
A ruler.
Is a ruler. That lets you measure a dimension. Now, when you measure dimension, don't use this for layout because you might have fat fingers and it might roll over and give you 3 more inches. Okay? I might just, it gets me ballpark. If I'm doing a takeoff for drywall, I'll just highlight them. It gives me close enough for me to order sheets. Or I'll measure walls and go, okay, I need this rough number. It's a rough estimate. I'm not using it for ordering or doing layout. Okay, so then what's the next line? What's the next tool?
That's your markup line, isn't it?
It is a squiggle line that says, I will allow you to measure however you drag your finger. Meaning that if I just drag and I created a circle and go down in this, it will measure the full line of the snake.
I gotta try that.
Okay? Now, here's what I'm going to do.
Okay, now I drew a line down. Oh, wow.
TH2.
You zoom over to the page. It's different on the.
Yeah, you have to rescale for each
You have to
page.
You gotta stick to whatever page.
Okay. Here's how I use the snake tool. When I'm measuring production for a team, so let me pause for a second. So there's different colors down here. When you press this button, you can choose different colors. I can manage, back in the day, you had to use a scale tape and color set of drawings. If I have team A working on this wall and team B working on that wall, I can take that, since I have it set scale, I would go, I'm going to measure from here, and they went around the shaft and they did that. That's blue. And then I'd come over here, change my same tool, and go this, and go team A got 150 feet, these guys got 100 feet. Team A is the winner for the floor for the day or whatever. I can measure a sense of production for my team by literally just dragging and highlighting wherever they work got done so that I know, am I getting production for my day? So that's the tool that I use to help manage myself on production footages. Okay? So what's the next tool?
I don't have a Z.
You might need to update. You might need to update. PlanGrid came out with a new update. You might be on an old version of PlanGrid. Okay.
We on that 2017 yet?
Okay.
We're not on that new
So
one?
Z to mark up if you're trying to do, let's say, a soffit or go around something, allows you to put a tool in it and keep straight lines. So you pick point A, point B, point C, point D. It allows you to do that.
I've had
Yeah. What was the name? Create shape.
So now that you see when it's solid color like that, that means it's long time shape. Click it to show that.
It tells you that it's 70 feet, 6 and a 16th inch.
You have some updates.
So that's just the Z.
It's like the snake, except for it just breaks it up into straight lines. Do you guys remember when you were doing your drawing here? And you could only go diagonal stop, diagonal stop, diagonal stop. That tool allows you to only build stuff in straight lines. The snake tool allows you to do curves and things like that. Does it make sense?
Oh, I just lost my
Calibrate.
Okay, so then what's the next tool to the left of that? Or to the right of that?
There's a box with little lines in it.
Okay.
Right there.
Okay. Next line below, you'll see there's something different about these tools. There's a box, there's like a pond looking thing, and there's a pentagon. But they have dots inside of it. What do we think those dots represent?
So the Z.
whole area and then the shape.
Shape, uh-huh.
Shape.
Shape, yeah, your shape.
Whole area.
So area,
Draw.
take square footage. Ian, why do you think there's all those dots?
He's in the middle of something else.
Okay. The purpose of the dots.
They have a sister rental for 4 days.
On the second set of tools, I'm sorry, I don't want, Steve, if I'm throwing you off, don't let me.
These things are in there for lifties.
Something different about those tools, there's dots inside. Why do they put dots inside the shape? That's what we're inquiring about right now. Do you have a guess, Jose? Why do you think there's dots inside the shape?
No.
Okay. The reason why there's dots inside of the shapes, it means that you're going to measure area. You're going to measure the square foot. So the top line is all lineal foot. The bottom one measures square foot. So if you're working on the exterior part of a building in plaster, I showed Bert this the other day when in planning, and I go, here's how you do your yardage. Pick this up and then measure, and he goes, oh, that's how much yardage I need on the wall. I go, yeah, there you go. So we just measured the square foot of the exterior by going to an exterior elevation and measured the square foot for him to do a rough calculation about how much sand and cement he needed.
Divide by 9.
Yeah, exactly. We measured square foot and then you just divided it by 9. Correct. So now the question is, do you want to measure just a square? Do you want to measure a special shape? So those tools are measured for areas. I'm saying, do you want it to be like a pond, like you need specialty shape, or do you want it to be squared up or exact? Tools allow you to do that.
So you have all the shapes. Hey.
200 yards left over.
I'm telling them.
Here you got the light trough.
Double tap the item and it'll tell you, do you want, so if you double tap an item, like if you drew a, go ahead and draw whatever you want for a square, a pond, or.
Yeah, that's how I figured it. I mean.
So inside it'll tell you that. Now go ahead and press it again.
Just for 2 bases? Yeah, times 2.
Press it again. Or sorry, double tap.
Oh.
All right. Hold on.
We're experimenting.
The Easter egg.
And when you double tap, what are we supposed to be seeing?
Makes life so easy.
Square footage.
Square footage.
Yeah.
You got a big surge? Big guy?
Well, on another one, it showed the perimeter and square footage.
Yeah, double tap, it doesn't work for mine.
Sorry, it's not the double tap. Where I know it's throwing me off is because I put mine on top of yours, so it said, "Oh, you want to see which one." So the box gives you perimeter.
Yeah.
And the pond one gives you square footage.
Okay, so there's
Oh,
not
is
an
that it?
option.
Gotcha.
No, there's three.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
next to giving you, if you're asking me to edit, so that's why it's giving you the area.
Did you have three?
Yeah, there's 3 of them.
I think.
So that right
There's a
there,
square.
that's your linear footage of your outside, and, wait, no, that has dots in it.
Yeah, so I'm saying,
I have 4 on mine.
see, when I put this over the top of this,
Yeah.
watch what happens. When I click, it's gonna give me other ones,
Which
because there's
ones?
2
Yeah.
markups.
Yeah,
It's
One.
on here.
Because if you're gonna edit it or if you're gonna.
Yeah. And so you guys say, which one do you want to select? I want to select that one and move it back over.
There it is.
Asking if
What are you
you
talking
want your
about?
square footage on
I
there
got you.
instead of the
Yeah.
area.
When you have 2 markups.
What do you mean? What-
On top of each other?
And then it tells you which one.
When you have 2 markups on top of each other, the computer says, which one do you want to select? Because the one's on top of the other. Do you want the one in the back or you want the one in the front? When you do that, another bubble pops up and says, which one? And then it'll bring it to the front for you to move it.
So
Even if
mine
it's
has
visible
one
for you?
without dots, and then dots, and then it's good.
I can't remember how to do it, so
Yeah, this will all be retained in memory.
That
Okay.
was wrong, that's Elaine.
So,
He said that is square footage, not the linear.
No, wait,
footage.
hang on.
No, the square is the perimeter and the
pond is
the
the,
pond is the,
Area, square
is the
footage.
area.
Yes.
My bad.
And I don't know what the polygon.
pentagon?
Pentagon, whatever.
okay.
Let's see.
Okay. So that's the measuring tool. And I'll let you guys play with that and experiment that with on your own jobs. We'll go deeper into that on your own, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Does that for,
Okay. So one of the things that the office is requesting, and I'm requesting, I would like to have visibility of the projects to see how much work is done and progress photos. One of the reasons why we want progress photos is so we can put them on the website, show the work that we do. Other reason we want progress photos is that if something happens that they say you're not done for billing, I can say, bullshit, the wall's done. Here's a picture. So I'm worried that the general contractor knows that our project management team's in Florida, and they go, oh, they don't know what it really looks like, and they might maneuver that. I'm not saying anybody's doing that, but I want to protect ourselves against that. So your photos are going to be critical to allowing project management visibility of how much work is done. It also lets Dave Schmidt know, hey, these jobs are at this stage, okay? So the next button we're going to talk about is the photo button. Okay? So on the photo button, I want you to, let me pick when you click the photo button, you should have an item that says tap to add a photo. So click the photo button, and what it's asking you, where do you want me to place the icon for the photo? So what do I mean by that? If you look up here at the screen, I'll show you what I'm talking about. If I press the photo button, a window pops up and says add photo. If this was a floor plan, I could add the photo up here to the left, or down here to the right, or down here. You want to place the photo marker wherever you're standing and taking the picture from. Does that make sense? So if this was a floor plan, or on this project, you wouldn't want to take a picture of a photo here and place the marker here, so I'm looking at the wrong elevation. So you then place the photo marker, I'm standing here when I'm taking the photo, place the marker where you're going to be standing and you're taking the photo, place it on the drawings, and then tell me what happens.
Turn on your location service.
Take new photo.
Okay? So I want to hear, because there's a couple things that's happened. Yours says,
We're moving ours around.
thank you.
Mine's not taking a photo.
Did you? Because you have this. It's covered.
You're gonna take the cover off.
Okay, here we go.
So you're gonna take, yeah, if you're in the line eight or whatever.
Yeah, now you click it, so you take the camera. Where you take it.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, no, that's how it works.
so now,
Okay.
door 137.
Because you have it on that.
So now what I want everybody to do, okay, I know everybody's getting anxious.
So anytime you have
You can run that wire.
issues, these are good for constraints and shit. You know what I mean?
Pipe coming out of there, I can't.
Yeah, exactly. The fucking pipe right in my fucking wall, and you write, you take a picture of it, you send it.
Just put it on camera a minute ago when it wasn't on that.
Yeah, when I actually
we weren't
went on the
PlanGrid,
actual
just with the
camera.
photos.
Okay, so then I want you to look at your partners and we'll try to look through them. Okay? So I want to show you two things that are really important when taking photos. Okay? Okay. When you hit take new photo, so I want everyone to grab and say take new photo, and I want you to point to someone in the room. Okay?
You want me to hold up gang signs? What's that?
No.
Just playing.
Now, there's three buttons on the right-hand side. There's a button with a squiggle mark in the upper right-hand side. There's a button that's a circle, and there's a button that says cancel. Okay? What? Okay.
Oh, okay, that one.
Okay?
Oh, did you say yes to PlanGrid to allow?
Oh.
Option. Take a picture of these.
Okay, so which one do you want to press? My recommendation is to always press the squiggle one. Now, why?
Right here. You go to photo. Go to take photo.
Oh,
Take a new
take a
photo.
And then you have the squeeze.
See that squiggle line?
You
I
got
want you
me.
to point it at somebody and hit the
Oh,
squiggle line.
Just
Stick with me, guys, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So hit the squiggle line and take a photo of somebody here. Me, anybody, I don't care. Take a photo with the squiggle line. Just press the squiggle line and it'll take a photo. Okay, now is everybody with me? You've taken a photo. Not yet. Okay.
Yes.
You've taken a photo with the squiggle line.
Oh, we can mark it up on that photo now.
Wait. I just say everybody's just say you've taken the photo. Hold on, but I'm not. Everybody, we're not all together.
Hey, look, this is what you look like with red hair.
Okay. Hey, Paul. Let's back. Does everybody have a photo
Yes.
with a squiggle? So I hear noses. I hear yes. So we got to do this as a unified team.
Yes.
Okay. What? You're getting black? Okay, we're having that same problem over here. So this is.
Who's in, when PlanGrid, you allowed it?
Nah.
You gotta allow it.
Gotta allow it. So it's.
The location.
Okay. Legier, can you help them get that straight now? Okay. Great. So when you take a photo with the squiggle line, what that allows you to do is that allows you to mark up the photo. Whereas if you use the other button, you're just taking a picture. But the markup allows you to mark up the drawing. Now, why is this important?
So you can tell them what you're talking about. I'm talking about.
Yes, exactly. So you can point your. When I look at a picture, because I've been in construction so long, if you took a picture, if I looked at any of your pictures, I don't know what I'm looking at. Am I looking at a bump in the floor? Am I looking at the soffit's off? I'm looking at the wall texture, the paint's not, the taping's flashing. I've got so many issues in my head about stuff that I've seen pictures. I'm going, is the wall not plumb? Is the soffit? What am I looking at? I'm looking at so much stuff. So if you could help project management by circling, drawing an arrow, or pointing to what I'm looking at, I go, they're talking about this. Okay, because I'm looking at the floor. Is the slab off? Is the wall off? I'm looking at so many things. You can help focus to say the issue is right here. Okay? So the person you took a picture of, you can now draw, put horns on them, mustaches, all that other kind of stuff, have a fun photo.
There's no way to type on the picture?
No, there's not a version, not a way to type yet. Okay?
It'll be there though.
Well, that's what we're going to come back to. So this photo button, here's what you want to use photo button for. once he gets in, there you go.
Hey,
He's in.
hey, question.
Yes.
Hey, it's a couple people are cutting out here because it's getting late.
Yeah, sorry.
That's your camera.
What, how long are you guys gonna be doing this? Just curious, you know, I'm not trying to stop your meeting.
No, I know. All we need to do is get to,
Yeah, no doubt, right?
issues is next, which is the punch list. And, we're gonna lightly cover documents and we're done. So maybe, another 20 minutes.
Okay, I'm gonna let them go because we covered this with you.
Yeah, exactly. You guys are good.
Bye, ladies.
All right, bye. Thank you, team in
Thank you.
Florida. Woohoo!
Nice seeing you.
So, here's what you want to use photos for. Do I have everybody's attention?
Yes.
Do I have everybody's attention?
Yes. Hey, Dickie, can I just listen to you on the way home? I got a 2.5-hour drive still.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, just listen to me. We're all good.
Okay.
Everybody, you're good.
Thanks. I'll see you later. Bye, friend.
Okay, here's what the photo button does. Photo is for your progress photos. You want to use that for progress photos, taking pictures of the work that you've done. So you can either use markup or use regular photos. Take pictures in the same spot every day. Here's my picture for today. Here's my picture for today. You can keep going back to your standpoint where the camera's at, and you can hit open up and hit add new photo, and it will timestamp it so I can see a time lapse of how much work's been done. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So what does this stand for? Progress photos. What does it stand for?
Progress photos.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey,
Now-
Dickie, before you keep
Yes.
going, I'm a sign out too. I got some things to take care of for
Okay.
Dave. So,
No problem. Thanks, Ben.
All right.
Thanks for being here.
See you, Ben.
all right, you guys be good. All right, bye.
Okay. So now the other option is down here. You hit the E12. You were to pick that button. It shows you a palette of different colors. Okay. So it's just showing you the option. Do you need mine?
Yeah.
So after we made our arrows and direction point, what was it?
It automatically. The question is, do you want it to push to the master to inform other people? Oh, I apologize. Sorry. Thank you. Good question. So once we've taken the photo, you save, and it will save the photo, and it adds it to your iPad, and it adds it up into the PlanGrid cloud. So it's available anywhere on any device, wherever you go. Those photos are.
Picture, at this location, or in this picture.
Oh, gotcha. You wanted to send it?
Yeah. Well, how would you do that?
Hold on. So here's your picture. So now you're saying, how would you send it? I would select it. And here it is. You have to zoom in on the picture and send it. Good question, Steve. So Steve brought up, if you have that photo and you want to share it, now again, you don't have to, once you're in PlanGrid, you don't have to share stuff with us because we all have access to PlanGrid.
Automatically share.
So you don't have to send us stuff because we can look into the job at any point in time. Now you're not having emails and emails and emails. We literally can go, I want a full photo gallery for the job, and I can click and see that. Okay, so it's going to save us on emails. But if you want to send something, like say you took a picture and you want to send to GC or somebody else, press it. What Steve pointed out is you press it, you jump into it, and then down in the lower left-hand corner, there's the share button there that you can press it, and then it shares it, and it brings up an email.
It's already there in the cloud. You
Sorry.
can pick it up, look at it, see what was there.
Yeah.
You don't have to send us. It's already done. I can close out.
Yep.
Click out, all that.
Yep.
It's already there.
It's already there. As soon as whatever you put in there, we have copies. As soon as you type it up, we have copies. We have access to your PlanGrid account, and we have access that because we're an organization. There's an administrative level that we can get to all the projects.
They know everything. That's not right.
Next. Okay, so any questions or the inkwell? Inkwell, you guys can figure out, you can change colors and use red for fire rated, blue for water, whatever you want, right? Okay, so now let's go back up. Well, is there any questions about anything we've covered so far? Because we're about to go into the punch item.
No.
Okay, so here's what the punch item, we're going to jump into the punch item. This gets a little bit, this is a little bit expansive. And what I mean by that is that when you project, you can use this button for a lot of different features. Right now, what we're going to cover is just the basics of it, and we'll develop it more as we go. Okay? So, what I want you to do now is I want you to click the item and tell me what pops up. Okay, let's pause right there. So when you press that button, what came up was a list of stamps. Those are called stamps. Okay, those stamps, PlanGrid has said, look, I've worked on so many projects, I kind of know what the general thing, but you can create your own custom stamps if you want. So it takes the first letter. So if it's wall repair, it takes wall and the first letter of repair, WR. If it takes aluminum ceiling or acoustical ceilings, does AC, whatever it is. You can create your own custom stamp with your own lettering and your own colors. Okay, but right now they give you a pre-populated list to say, here's some stamps you could use to highlight your issue. Who's on Motco? Paul, you're on Motco? If you're on Motco, there's stamps on there with issues.
40.
Okay? 40 over 44.
They were there when I first got there, right? All the framing defects.
So what do we want to use this for? You want to select a stamp that's going to represent what your issue is. Is it a plumbing? Plumbing's in my way? Is it electrician in my way? Work not done? You can create your own stamps. So press the stamp that you want. Select the stamp, and then it's going to ask you, where do you want to place it on the sheet? So once you select the stamp, it's going to say, where do you want to put me? Do you want to put me over in the corner? You want to put it in room A101? You want to put it in the corner of room A102? Where do you want to put me? Then when you select it, you're doing fine. We're doing great.
This is very helpful, Vicki. You're doing a great job.
We're doing great. Thank you. I appreciate that, Paul.
It's a refresher course for me because there was a time.
Yeah. There's been tons of updates. That's what
I've done a lot of work with the iPad doing, taking pictures, really handling business.
Stupid issues.
You're welcome. So when you then place the punch on your sheet, you're going to get a whole nother set of window. This whole window is your issue. It creates your whole issue item. Okay? So this is your way that you can speak to the general contractor, project management, to anybody that wants to mess with you. I create issues and say, hey, it's holding me up. You put it in there. Now let's just work down the window from top to bottom, okay?
Okay, copy that.
So we're going to work down the list from top to bottom. Let's just cover what this is. So there's a field called list. If you wanted to create your own set of lists, these are all the lists for electrical issues, and these are all the lists for plumbing issues, and this is all the lists for something else. You can create your own set of lists. You can say a list for my guys to fix and a list for people to get out of my way. You can create a list for internal, hey, here's my punch list, guys, fix this. And you can create another list called GC fix list, right? You can do a QC list. You can create different lists. That button up there allows you to create different lists. So you can create a punch and say, well, I want that to go on my fix it list. Oh, this is list means GC to fix. Okay. Then below that is your stamp. If you want to change your stamp, you could press that button and it brings back you where you were at, so you could change it and revise it at any time.
You said you could revise that.
I said,
Whatever you put in, it's gonna take the first
letters. Okay, so then next says below the stamp, below that, what does it say?
Yes.
Status. So you can actually put your issue in there and say, these are my open items, these are my items that I've sent to the GC, these are my items that I'm working on, these are the items that are closed. You click status, it'll tell you what those are, and it will change your punch. Meaning the symbol will either change in color or change in transparency. So go ahead and press status. So if it's open, it's solid. If it's in review, it's dotted. If it's in progress, it's dotted with a slash. If it's closed, it's solid and slashed through. Okay? So you can manage all your issues on your project to go, here's my list. Here's my list for Tristan. Tristan, here's your punches. Sergio, here's your punches. I could create different punches for teams to go fix different things.
So on our ongoing project that we have now, this is what you want, because I could do this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is how we're gonna start.
Correct.
Because I can go back to the projects that I have now and just start adding those in.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm going to show you how it all ties together in the end too. It's great. Yeah. So this is where you're going to notify project management, hey, here's all my issues, and here's how you're going to be enforced to do that. So next is the field underneath that says assign to. Okay? So it says assign to.
I got a list of people.
You can see a list of people, yes?
Yes.
If you have an issue that somebody needs to fix, let's say it was let's say there was a change. So Sergio, what you just did by sending us in that, the PCO cheat sheet, you could literally create an issue and say, hey, this is meant to be priced. You could say assign to Alice, and she gets an email that says you've been assigned a punch item. You need to get this resolved. You can assign stuff to project management. You now are going, hey, manager, get this done for me. This needs to get done. You can also assign it to everybody that's in PlanGrid or list. At some point in time, I'll show you later how to assign it to the general contractor. Email and go to the general contractor. Yes, if they have a PlanGrid account and they can do that. If not, I'll show you a workaround to do that.
Right now, none of our GCs.
They're using a Procore and other different things.
Okay, get into that later.
So assign to, so if you want to assign anything you want project management to do, this is your, hey, get off your asses in Florida, get this done. This is, I need this, and it creates items. So what's underneath that?
Due date.
Due date. You can say, I need this done by this date. Hey, project management, you need to price this, and I need to have it right, because I need to know if I'm going to proceed or not. Okay? And then below that, you can put location. Now, what does location mean? When you put your punch on let's say a room, you might put location east wall, or you could use room 101. The reason why it comes up, whatever you put in that field, all this information gets spit out and it can go on a spreadsheet, and I can filter down by here's all the issues on first floor, here's all the issues on, here's all the issues with room 101, here's all the issues with whatever. What is the location and description helps bring clarity. Oh, this could be the column. This issue is for the column, even though your punch there, because the punch might be a bit big, not landing exactly where you want. Okay. And when you type location, a keyboard pops up and you speak and it'll type it. Okay. Below that, add photo. It does the exact same thing that we did here, except for it's going to put the photos into this punch. So this is progress photos for the job. The other one is going to go, hey, I'm attaching these photos to the list, and this is where you want to use that squiggle mark to point up to say, hey, light's in the wrong place, or they need to move the box, or whatever the issue is. You can actually point to and now mark up your photo to say, here's the issue to get people to focus on it. That's everything that the photo did. And then description, type in the description. Right. Or type into it, and that gives you the description. Below that, you'll see it says comments. We're not going to go into comments right now. But below that, you should see 2 items. What are the 2 items below that?
Schedule it.
So you can see what items that could be an issue, like fix. Oh, I got to tell that guy to go fix the soffit because it's out of square. Oh, this is my GC fix list. Hey, I can say this is a cost item and this is a schedule item. Now, there's 2 little buttons on the side. If you click one of those buttons, go ahead and hit cost. What happens when you hit cost?
Cost amount.
Tells you, what do you think this amount's going to be? You could type in dollars or you could type in hours. So this is where Sergio, you could literally put in and go 4 hours of framers, 3 hours hangers, 2 hours tapers, stock and cleanup time, foreman, whatever you want. You could literally type in there. Instead of using your cheat sheet, you could type it right there. And it'll fill out and give us everything we need to go. Sergio's literally told you, there's your price for this issue with the photos in the room, on the floor plan versus the cheat sheet. I'm going, where's he at on the drawing? And you're literally guiding me right to where you're standing. And I go, oh, and Sergio says he needs 8 hours of framing time and 4 hours of taping. You can communicate to project management your needs or your inflated prices. Yeah.
It's just that when I thought it would be easier for them to go so that I could get it.
They were familiar
Yeah,
with it.
whatever
Yes.
they're happy with, just give it to me.
Correct. And now I'm training them on this. That's why I'm now going.
I'll be more than happy.
Yeah. And if you click schedule, it'll say how much longer do you need? You can put dates on it. Okay. And then below that, it says history. So you can see your history. Now, what's important about the history function?
Backup.
Say again?
Backup.
Backup?
Date, time of your recording.
Yeah, exactly. So remember when you had status? Hey, I put it in as open, then I changed the status to in review, then I changed the status to pending, then I changed the status to closed. It will remember that and said, hey, look, here's the history, dude. I'll tell you when I changed the status. It went here on this date. That gives you the history. So if anything says, really? I have the document. I have everything here. What do you need? I'll send it to your office right now. Okay. And so then you can, you can add. Now, what's a layer? Below that is a layer. This is an additional functionality. We're not going to go into it right now. Just as a concept, you can create layers. You can so that way you can turn off and on layers. So if you had a list of my fix-it items and the GC fix-it items, you could create a layer of my fix-it items so you could turn that on and off because you might want to, you don't want to bloody up your prints or make your prints too busy with all your punches on it. And you can turn stuff on and off.
Actually do that though. Build a button at the top, hide all that stuff so you can read your numbers on the print.
Exactly. You guys are getting it. That's awesome. Okay. So then at the very bottom, you can hit remove issue. And for remove issue, it's going to ask you, do you want to archive or delete?
Archive will save it for later. Delete will delete it forever.
Delete deletes it forever. Archive says I will save this as fun. Okay.
Forever.
Oh, no.
You go ahead and hit. Yeah. Don't worry, you'll play with it and it'll come out.
That's what I'm playing.
Now what I want you to do is see that file cabinet. Okay. Okay, so click the file cabinet. In the upper right-hand side, I want you now to click the file cabinet. Remember I said the file cabinet is like a whole drawers where we're going to be able to access a bunch of stuff? So when you hit that, what comes up? Great. Every issue that you create goes into an issue log. So let's click issues, and you'll see there's a log that pops up. I don't think you'll have any.
I will though soon.
If you get issues, you'll say, hey, nothing. But when you do,
Liking?
this will be the log. So if you can literally email the whole log, once you go through, you punch all your items in a day, it all saves it onto a list. You can take that list, I have access to that list, so that I can say, when I walk the job, because I'm going to come out and walk your job, I'm like, I want to know how many open items. What has my foreman been dealing with? And who do I need to get on their ass to get out of our way so we can build productively? Hey, town contractor, my office is these issues. What's the plan for this? These are all constraints. You're holding this thing up. I want to know solutions here. What are you doing? Are you doing your job? Let's get out of the way and get this building built. We're communicating to you. And I said, oh, you don't have this issue log? I can press one button and say send the whole issue log, and it takes all your photos and all your costs and everything that's on there, and it emails to them. And I go, what do you need? The foreman has been telling you this. I'm here telling you this. I hope you have a good lawyer, because if we go to court, we have done more than our due diligence to tell you to hurry the fuck up. I'm not going to bury my office in admin and tracking and all this other stuff. The foreman has been telling you. They've told you. It's right here. Now I can harness the power of what the foreman sees, capture it all, and use it to influence a project to get to an outcome. Does that make sense? So if I like I said, I get a little bit passionate. I don't like treating our clients like that, but you follow what I'm saying. I'm like, when you're so frustrated going, nothing's moving. It also gives you a layer of, it lets us be on the same page, because what I also don't want to do is I don't want to come off half-cocked. What the fuck's going on with your guys' budget? What's going on? Why are you behind? Dickie, there's 117 issues on our project. I can't move. I can't go anywhere. I'm like, now I can see all that without having to come out and you walk me every day going, that's an issue, that's an issue, that's an issue. And I can now push that stuff and help push to get the project moving forward. Okay? So I want to cover one other last topic and we're done. Okay? So the other last topic is I want to back up. And this is for, I'm going to call this your homework. Yeah.
Interferes with my life.
So, and this is not something for you to actually do at home. This is something to do when you're out on your projects. Okay? So just take right from, okay. Go back to Sheets. Is everybody on Sheets?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, under field reports, I'm going to ask you this weekend, over the next week, to explore what field reports is. When you press field reports, it's going to give you a whole list. PlanGrid has already generated a populated list for field reports, timesheets. You can literally feel everything out right there, and our office has a copy of it.
There's no drafts.
Yeah, add it.
You have to add one?
Yeah, do the plus
So you have
sign.
to put our daily, AMS daily sheet.
Correct. So over the next few days, I'm going to have our templates put in there. Okay? So by Monday, all our templates will be inside of there, and we need to experiment, which means I need you to start putting some data in there, and I need to work out the bugs of going, well, what works, what doesn't work. So by the time we have our next foreman's meeting, You guys can say, I love it, I hate it, I love this feature, I hate that feature, this isn't working, and we can get feedback and start marching pulling this tool in to use it exactly the way we want to use it. Okay? Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Right. That's gonna start coming down. I'm gonna call that the labor budget. Your work breakdown for layout and contract and clips and all that stuff. All that stuff's coming once we get the accounting software set up. That's what's holding us back. So we're about a month and a half away from that. When that happens, we're gonna get some visibility. Okay.
One thing.
I need to show you guys another piece. Sorry. It's another piece to this. Press the documents button. In your projects, for the past month, I've been updating every single project here with your copy of your contract, copy of your copy of the contact list. Subcontracts, all these different items, whatever they're like, RFIs. I put all the submittals in there, all the approved submittals. I put your schedules. I've put everything that pertains to your projects inside of them. So if anybody wants to talk to you about anything, you literally have every document. Here's the submittals, here's the schedule, here's my spec section, here's my contract, here's my contact link. We can put whatever document you want in there. This is your one-stop shop for every document for your project. You can go into any meeting and bring it up in 30 seconds or less to go, it's not in my contract, it says right here, we're not doing that. You can bring up a spec section. And when you bring those documents up, you can also mark them up. Okay? So I'm going to say that again. When you bring your documents up, you can also mark them up. That means that you can circle a spec section and it will be highlighted and it's saved, and it's saved in there so that when you're going back through, it stands out. So you can mark it up like a regular piece of paper, highlight, pencil, everything, all the markups we use on the website is very similar to that. Okay? So that gives you the robust tool of everything that is PlanGrid. And there's more. But this gives you a foundation for everything that you need to do. Okay? Everything that we're going to be using. Turning pages, like left and right, search. Oh, what I didn't tell you was seeing the older versions of the sets. If you had a different version of the set, all you have to do is when you're on the page, if you can find one, if there was another version of this, all I have to do is swipe up and it brings up the old version. It says, hey, this is not the latest, greatest. And I can see the old version. So I can refer back to old drawings to go, oh, that layout looks off. Wait, did they lay out to the old set or to the new set? I can check that. Okay, I can see where that dimension's at. Okay? So we're using that moving forward. Right, Paul, you just need some help in getting your account stuff? Okay, good.
Celine is, I think, got me back into PlanGrid.
Okay.
And I believe she's even got my signature for when I do emails or somebody else's names.
Gotcha.
So I think I'm just about ready to start rock and roll.
Okay, great. So what I want to say on behalf of David Schmidt and what I have to say on behalf of everybody that's here, your guys' time is extremely valuable to me because I know what you guys offer to this company with your influence and leading the teams. And also I know you have families and everything at home. And taking the time out to be here, I appreciate it. Today was a full day. The next ones will be a little more concise. We won't have to lay a lot of the groundwork. And again, if something happens and you want to join this, you can just jump on the I can clue you in and jump in, and you can join this meeting from your house or wherever, like what Damien did, so that we can all kind of just talk about open issues and things that are outstanding. One of the other items that's out there is future jobs. We have a bunch of work coming up, and when I say a bunch, probably about $13 million worth of work coming up. Kern Hospital to small stuff. I have a whole list of those jobs. We're not going to go through it now, but just that when we meet again, I'll be talking about that so you guys can see how we're doing as a company, what's going on, which projects are in front of us, and we'll start talking from there. Okay? Dave, do you want to say anything before we go?
I just appreciate everybody coming out.
Take a lunchbox home.
Yep, take it. Everybody grab 3, 4 shirts.
Lunchbox, shirts. You can take your pens. Hey, Damien.
Hold on. Thank you. Hey,
Friday, please.
Hey, Damien, we are finished. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Take care. Appreciate it.
Yeah, all right. Have a good one.
All right, you too.
Take care, Davey. Hey, something they brought up in guide dogs.